Kriana Fantasy is a wild game set inside the legendary Royal Kriana Academy. It's a wildly popular dating action RPG where every move you make bends the story down a brand new route. Players can either dive into the Academy's intense battle system or ditch it all and focus on dating the Academy's heroines is on the table. This game lets you roam with real freedom and chase a bunch of wildly different ending routes. But there's one character who never, ever lets the player pass: Alba Orsia, the Duke's own son. He's a cocky, overindulgent womanizer with a short fuse, and everybody treats him like the final boss, until the day he's forced to become the game's protagonist's worst enemy. Deep in the heart of the mountains, a young man bursts out of a cabin clutching a hoe, ready to start farming. It's none other than Alba Arisha, the Duke's delinquent son, now lurking all alone up in the mountains. Everything feels peaceful: birds are chirping, rivers are rushing, and the animals are calling out like the whole forest is singing. Alba kicks off his day by plowing the fields, and as the dirt flies, a memory hits him, one that uncovers a huge secret. Turns out he's not really Alba at all. Somebody else reincarnated into Alba's body 3 years ago. 3 years ago, inside Dukorsia's mansion. After reincarnation, the protagonist snaps awake in Alba's body. At that moment, he could barely make out what was around him, or even who stared back at him from the mirror. But little by little, memory shards slam back into place, and he remembers a specific game. It's a youth fantasy game that drops you right into the halls of Kriana Royal Academy. In every route, that villain always barrels in to clash with the protagonist, and it's Alba every single time. In one path, she snatches a heroine right out from under him and turns her into a rival. In another timeline, corruption claws him under, and he turns into the Academy's destroyer. No matter which route they pick, Alba is fated to become the final villain. To make it worse, the protagonist's game memories are chopped up. He never finished every route, but Alba sticks in his head like a thorn because that character shows up again and again, always crowding him with non-stop, irritating persistence. Staring at Alba's reflection staring back, he froze in shock. Did he really get reincarnated as Alba? Still, out of all that confusion, one crushing thought takes over his mind completely. So yeah, Alba's basically doomed to die no matter what. He'll either get knocked out in a showdown duel with the protagonist over a heroine, or the protagonist will bring him down for all the evil he's done. No matter which route you pick or what choice you make, Alba's death flag is coming, there's no dodging it. But he refuses to swallow this fate or sit there, powerless, waiting for his end, because he won't rest until he figures out why he got reincarnated in the first place. Even though he can't see any way to bend fate, he steels himself and commits to the only choice that makes sense right now. Escape his fate for good, right when they find his room stripped bare and every single valuable gone. The maids rush to the Duke at once, and the moment they said yells Alba's name, rage lit his face. But Alba refuses to budge. He's convinced that fleeing is the only way to dodge the fate that's already waiting for him. He figures if he sells the valuables he snatched, he can keep the lights on, disappear into the countryside, and finally live in peace, far from the doom that used to be waiting for him. Back in the present, it has been 3 years since that day. After running away, the first thing he did was dye and cut his hair. Then he bought a small cottage in the mountains. Sure, it's not the easiest life compared to how he used to live, but he's learned to breathe, farming in the sunny days, reading when the rain rolls in, and the best part is he's alive. Right then, someone storms out of the house, breathless, and apologizes to him for oversleeping. At that exact moment, Alba remembers this world's goddess of destiny doesn't play nice and she won't let him off easy. He snaps into a greeting, calling the girl "Good morning, Celia," and then and she bursts into a giggle as she shoots the greeting right back. This is Celia Margaret, one of the game's biggest potential love interests. She informs him that he has received a letter to which he assumes it concerns his debt and tells her to simply eat it. She snaps back that she's no goat at all, and Alba bursts out laughing. He gently pats her head as he apologizes, and her face lights up like he just fixed everything, though he can't ignore the fact that by his own plan he's not supposed to get close to her. She's one of the few people who could steer him straight into his death flag. Celia is a saintess chosen by the goddess, rare, famous, and famed for healing magic so powerful it can even sniff out disasters before they strike. You might be wondering how the saintess ends up tied to him at all. Well, it all traces back to half a year ago when he was living alone and just trying to get his footing in this world. Because this is the same world as the game, he already knows the veggies like old friends, so he starts farming right away. and he's genuinely grateful he doesn't have to struggle. Still, he figures Alba's family hasn't started hunting for him, and thank God, because the thought of that happening has him panicking deep down. But he didn't expect the people in town to treat him as if he were already dead. Because his own family doesn't even deny the rumors, Alba can't help but think they hated him just as much. He refuses to overthink it, then stretches out as he finishes harvesting. Just then he hears a noise coming from afar and wonders if it was a scream. Turns out a carriage gets ambushed, and inside it sits the Saintess. While a guard yells for the Saintess to run, the moment he finishes his order, he's wiped out in an instant. They didn't just take him, everyone else was wiped out too, and all that's left is the Saintess. Cornered with nowhere to run, she shakes as an assassin bears a dagger at her throat, begging them, no, insisting, they can't do this. One of the assassins bursts forward out of nowhere and crashes into her with a brutal attack. Just as the assassin lunged to strike her, a burst of lightning erupted out of nowhere, slammed between them and blasted the attacker clean away. This hits the Saintess and the other assassin like a punch to the gut because it all explodes in seconds. The lightning hits and it's Alba. He admits he doesn't understand what's happening, but he yells at everyone to stop and not let any girls cry. As he pivots toward the Saintess, he freezes, her face looks disturbingly familiar. As he scrambles to place her face, it clicks in his mind, she's one of the heroines he's seen before. He is deeply distraught as she is one of the main characters connected to his death flag. Despite isolating himself deep in the mountains to avoid meeting any of the main characters, it ended up happening. After this, he's convinced the goddess of destiny won't ignore Alba slipping out of his grasp, that escape feels like a favor he absolutely didn't ask for, and it infuriates him. Right as he's weighing his next move, assassins spring up behind him and slam in to attack. Terrified, the Saintess bursts into screams, shouting at Alba to run. At that exact moment, he snaps his will toward the lightning, brushing them aside like they're nothing, and then he shrugs it off, saying, "Since I've already made contact, there's no undoing it." The Saintess gasps in pure shock as Alba wipes out every assassin with one blazing blue flash. Ever since he vanished into the mountains, he grinded non-stop, digging into the world's magic and learning how to wield it with deadly control. And that's how he wipes out the assassins without breaking a sweat, yet even knowing it's all a game world, guilt still claws at him the moment he lands the kill. Realizing one day he could end up just like them, he clenches his resolve and fights his fate. Whatever kind of death's waiting for him, he swears he won't go down without tearing back with everything he's got. After a quick pause, he whips around to the Saintess and demands to know if she's okay. He asks anyway, knowing she's alive since every one of her guards hasn't been wiped out, and then he drops to his knees with a crushing apology for failing to save her companions. She drops to her knees and breaks down in tears, begging him to believe she can't take it anymore. She admits she knows the Saintess's duty means she has to journey across the land on pilgrimage, but the terrifying truth is, someone keeps hunting her the whole way. Alba clocks her own reaction and realizes, today's the day that finally broke the camel's back. She keeps going, saying the Saintess is right behind the Pope, second only in the Church of the Goddess. And because of that, they don't leave her alone. Attack after attack hits her hard, all to steal her power or cut her down before she blocks their plans. Every time innocent lives get tossed into the fire to protect her, she breaks a little more until she can't stand to watch it anymore. Alba thinks that if this were just a game scene, he'd label it as her backstory and move on, but seeing a young girl crying right in front of him shuts down every excuse in his head, and all he can say is, "This is the real deal, and those tears aren't some fake pixels on a screen." Tears spill down her cheeks as the Saintess begs to stop living in fear and just finally get to live a normal life. After a brief pause, Alba softly pats her head, then drops into a crouch. With a warm smile and zero hesitation, he asks if she wants to come over to his place. Then she instantly freezes, eyes wide, staring at him like she can't believe it. And then it hits him, anyone would be stunned to get an invitation like that thrown out so fast, but he blurts it out even quicker because he's not talking to some game NPC, he's speaking to a real person just like him. He tells her, "I don't fully get what you're going through, but I can see how hard you've been pushing, and you deserve to finally rest. Resting enough to actually smile matters way more than grinding yourself to exhaustion just to end up in tears." So if fate is hellbent on breaking her down, he tells her to run, right now. Alba sees the truth, this girl wants to defy her destiny the same way he does. He thrusts his hand forward and tells her if she has nowhere left to run, run with me. She lights up and grabs his hand, asking to go with him, and Alba instantly realizes he must not get close to any girl tied to his death flag. But he cannot help thinking that he would rather see her smile than cry. Just half a year later, he can see a smile on her face that suits her far better than tears. The moment Celia snapped back into her good mood, she fired off a letter to her dad, the Pope, and today she finally got his reply. As Alba asks her what the letter says, she suddenly hugs him. She leans in and asks softly if he'll stay with her, but he answers with a laugh, so loud and sudden that it leaves Celia totally baffled. He leans in and promises her, "Of course, I'll stay by your side," because he's the one who pulled her out, so he's taking responsibility for her all the way to the very end. Overwhelmed with joy, she throws her arms around him again and blurts out just how happy she is. Alba's pretty sure she needs him to drive her to the church where her father is, and because it was his fault she ran, she's sure he won't dodge punishment that easily. Celia slides an image into his hands and tells him, "Let's go together right to that place." He's hit with whiplash when he realizes the picture isn't a warning at all, it's a pamphlet for Kriana Academy, the very place from the game. For Alba, that place is the executioner's block, death flags spilling everywhere, and he's sworn he'll never step anywhere near it. But the goddess of destiny won't let him slip away. Celia then tells him her father pushed her to enroll in the academy if she wants any shot at a normal life and if Alba comes with her, she will have the best school life ever. Hearing this, Alba responds with a warm smile, but deep down he's fighting tooth and nail because he never wants to step foot in that place. He's been fighting tooth and nail to keep his distance from Kriana Academy and the game's main heroes, hiding in the mountains and praying for a quiet life. Still, no matter how hard he fought it, he lands there anyway, right when they finally pull up in front of the academy. Celia tells him to stare at how massive it is, and he panics and nervously nods along. She clocks his unease and asks if he's okay since he looks ghost pale, and he shrugs it off, just some harmless carriage sickness. Hearing that, she scoops him up and offers him her lap pillow to rest on. Alba's nerves spike as she thanks her and turns down the offer while the truth hangs in the air. He's only here because of Celia and he won't put that on her. While she has no clue about the death flags lurking for him at the academy, or that every one of them is tied to the game's heroines, even her. So tell me, why did he actually say yes and come to this academy with her? To figure that out, you gotta rewind to the day Celia got letters from her father, because tucked in there is one with a name on it, Alba. Right in the middle of Celia's letter, it's revealed her father is the guy who founded the most powerful religion in the world, the Goddess Church, and his authority carries the same weight as the King of Kriana. Because he's been keeping Celia safe under tight circumstances, he can't shake the fear that this letter carries an angry warning or worse, a real threat. However, when he opens the letter and reads a few lines, he is surprised. It's packed with non-stop apologies and even bigger heart-crushing gratitude. In the letter, Celia's father lays it out, she's the saintess not just because she's his daughter but because the goddess's grace has found her and she's been born with miracle-level power. The second she drew her first breath, her fate was locked in, and she threw her whole life into the goddess's teachings. And once she finally snaps into awareness of what's around her, she wastes no time, she goes straight to everyone who believes in the goddess. No matter how brutal or deadly the road became, she kept charging forward, using the goddess's power to rescue lost, stray sheep and bring them salvation. Not a single complaint ever slipped from her mouth, she just kept doing her duty quietly and perfectly, and whenever someone asked, she'd smile and say, "It's my job as the saintess," while he felt his heart swell with gratitude for his daughter saying it so warmly. Now he finally gets it, he's been a fool for not seeing that her smile is masking how she really feels. He finally gets it, his own daughter is one of those stray sheep, crying on the inside, silently begging for someone to rescue her. The Pope is convinced that Alba didn't just rescue his daughter, he saved her soul too, and that's why gratitude is the only thing burning in his heart. But still, Celia remains the saintess and he remains the founder, yet somehow everything is about to turn. But as her father, he refuses to let his beloved daughter's dream die, he's determined to back her toward a normal life. And since things have come to this, the Pope basically tells Alba she can smile at this old sinner like none of this matters. As you read it, Alba snaps that he won't laugh, no matter what. When Celia hears it and looks totally lost, he tells her her father is an amazing man, and Celia lights up as she happily agrees. He plows on with the next pages right when the Pope says he wants to make a request, and Alba immediately groans in pure annoyance. She shoots him, "What's wrong?" but he just keeps reading, saying nothing. Pope leans in and asks if Alba can come to Kriana Academy with Celia. He paints the academy like a sanctuary where skilled believers of the goddess come together, then flat out says nothing else can even touch the education the Royal Academy delivers. As Alba reads it, she tells Celia the bombshell. Her father wants him to go with her to Kriana Academy, and the Pope is convinced that if Celia walks through those gates, she'll finally live the life she's been dreaming of. He says he'd finally breathe easy if Alba stayed right there with him because she handled the assassins all by herself. He's convinced Celia wants to stay with him too, and when he clocks Alba's worried face, Celia steps in and tells him it's okay. With a bright smile, she reassures him she doesn't mind heading to the academy by herself. Seeing her say that, Alba finally clocks it. Her smile is pure camouflage, hiding the exact way she tricked her father. Then he leans in and warns her, the academy is a brutal maze full of people, and plenty of them are troublemakers just itching to flex their power. It leaves Celia completely confused. As Alba keeps going, she loudly insists that because the academy is run by the country, her life won't be in danger like it was on her pilgrimages. Yet she can't ignore the fact that creeps still swarm around, hungry to seduce a sweet girl like her. Still confused, Alba roars at her, asking if she really wants to go. She shoots back with full confidence that tons of people out there will want to be her friends too. Alba responds by warning her that she will end up losing all her free time to studies she has no real interest in. Celia replies that she has only studied the Bible before, so she is actually looking forward to it. He tells her that a strange place could drain her energy, but Celia grins and says she's thrilled to explore somewhere new. After that, they lock eyes and smile, and in the quiet between breaths, Alba turns to them and declares, "We're going together." This leaves her glowing and she throws her arms around him, while Alba screams in his head to stay clear of the academy and this girl, but he's already locked in, ready to tear up the death flags with everything he's got, especially because he's convinced Celia looks way better with a smile than a sad frown. She then expresses how grateful she is for the guidance of the goddess. This annoys Alba as that goddess of hers is trying to guide him to his death. Now that he finally stops to think, he can't shake the feeling that it was the goddess who pulled him into this world in the first place. As he mulls it over, he spots another message stamped on the letter, and groans all over again. Celia clocks what's going on and asks if he's finally changed his mind about the academy. He fumbles the answer, awkwardly shakes it off, and admits he can't wait to go. He snaps like this because of the final wish her father left behind, don't you dare make his daughter cry. Thus, just like that, he had to come to the academy with Celia. Stepping down from the carriage, they start toward the academy and both of them instantly freeze, stunned by just how huge that building is. Through a screen, Alba stares and it feels way more overwhelming than he ever pictured, and along the walk to the academy building, they spot a line of statues staring right back. Celia tells them these statues aren't just decorations, they're the goddess the hero swears by and the holy beast that guards the maiden. When she asks if he doesn't think they're wonderful, Alba gets this sharp, nagging feeling that each one hooks into a different moment of the game, she just can't pin down which one. Then he leans in and tells her, "Call me Al when we're at the academy." She panics, blurts out a fast apology and immediately slips and calls him Al. Celia's dad hands him Al's identity, Holy Knight Apprentice, so he can vanish behind the mask and dodge those brutal death flags. And just like that, Celia's jaw drops when she hears the truth. He fled his family and they've been calling him dead ever since. She tells him that if his family causes any trouble, her dad will squash them without mercy. And once Alba hears that, she finally realizes just how terrifying her father's power really is. Even with his help, he's still determined to steer clear of anyone tied to his death flags. As his frustration spikes because his memories of the game blur into nothing, he suddenly hears a whole crowd yelling. Turns out they already clocked Celia, and when they spot the Saintess here, their jaws drop. Because of this, a large crowd quickly gathers around her, even pushing Alba away. That realization hits him hard. This was the exact danger he should have feared from the start, because Celia is basically a real-life superstar out here. With the crowd chanting Saintess over and over, Celia starts to panic, trapped in the noise around her. As she shuts her eyes and begs for a normal life, lightning suddenly rips through the crowd. Alba snatched Celia and darted off from the group, claiming she's not here as the Saintess at all, she's here as a student from Kriana Academy. So he fires off a warning, back off and don't crowd her mindlessly. Sure, she's just a holy knight apprentice in name, but Alba decides she'll protect Celia no matter what, and when she sees how he reacts, it lights her up with joy. Meanwhile, the crowd is left reeling, stunned, and totally lost as Alba snatches Celia away in the blink of an eye. They quickly size him up and realize no way around it. His skills scream that he's the son of some great noble house. Hiding behind the girl, they watched Alba and Celia keep marching straight toward the academy. She looks stunned, but it's not because of what Alba just did. She's staring at him like she already recognizes him. After entering the academy, Celia suggests they hurry to collect their uniforms. But Alba freezes in place, trembling with hesitation. Even though he thought he was ready, the moment he stepped inside Kriana Academy, reality hit him like a brick. The very spot where Alba Orcia is fated to face his doom makes his body shake like it's bracing for impact. Seeing it, Celia snatches his hand and pulls him in fast. She leans in, tells him everything's okay, and wipes his fear away by saying she's right there with him. So when he finally smiles back, it stings in the worst way because he realizes it's him who's supposed to protect her, yet she's the one steadying his heart. Like a true saintess, she soothed his rage until it finally melted away and he thanked her for it. Then she burst into giggles and confessed she was scared too, nervous to the core. Inside the main building, they stumble on a towering stained glass window, etched with the hero and the goddess in shimmering detail. While Celia frets over what it's supposed to mean, whether the hero is protecting the goddess, Alba can't stop gaping at how massive it is. Celia sits down and starts to pray, eyes closed, heart pounding. Alba swears she never skips a prayer for a single soul, no matter the hour or the place. But when she prays out loud, begging the goddess to put her in the same class as Alba, he suddenly gets it. This plea isn't for anyone else, it's purely for her. Later, at the uniform distribution table, the teacher calls them out, tells them they're headed for the unicorn class, and thrusts their uniforms into their hands. Celia can't help but being in the same class as Alba, and that closeness comforts him just as much. The old teacher gives a sly chuckle and tells them to soak up every second of school life. Celia beams, accepts, and thanks him, but Alba can't shake the feeling this gray-bearded man is connected to some game-changing event. So with that settled, the two walk out smiling, locked in as classmates at last. While Alba feels relieved that nothing from the game has triggered, Celia excitedly expresses her anticipation about wearing the uniform. When she blurts Alba, he snaps back that in the academy it's Al, and she immediately winces and apologizes all over again for forgetting. Out of nowhere, someone lunges between them and yells Alba's real name, knocking both of them back in pure shock. It's the same girl from before. She leans in and asks if, even with that totally different hair color, he's really Alba. The second Alba spots that blazing red hair, her memory clicks. She knows exactly who it is, because this woman is impossible for the real Alba to ever forget. And her name is Elena, one of the game's top romance targets and one of its heroines. And just so you know, she's Alba's childhood friend and his ex-fiancé, one of the big names tethered to his death flag. Elena turns to him and demands to know why he's here with the Saintess. Celia spots Elena's troubled look and blurts out, "Are you mistaking me for someone else?" She tells him this guy is her holy knight apprentice, Al, and he's also her personal attendant. Hearing that, Elena bursts out laughing. That's all, he just yanked the ba out of Alba and slapped in an Al. Celia snaps the moment she realizes their lie is out in the open. She panics and blurts that Al is actually Al, not Alba, and meanwhile Alba's stuck in a brutally awkward run-in with someone he knows because he bolted from home. Elena hears all of it and straight up confirms that Alba really did run away, sending shock straight through him. But Celia keeps panicking, swearing she's right and that the Alba who saved her life is now Al, and while Al scrambles to shut her up, Elena presses on, confirming that Alba met the Saintess after fleeing. And now she's straight up convinced he's the one who cooked up the rumor that he died. So when she says it out loud, Alba scrambles to play dumb, acting like he has zero clue what she's even talking about. But Elena whips her sword out of its sheath and swings for his head, yet he slips away like it's nothing. She tells him straight up that if he keeps playing dumb 1 second more, she'll cut him down, and the way she swings, it's so deadly serious that he's left staring in shock. Celia yells his name and panic flashes in his eyes, then he snaps at her to back up. That chaos erupts and suddenly a crowd surges in, drawn to the noise like magnets. People start clocking Elena as the Persia family's own and they can't stop asking, why is she hanging out with the Saintess's attendant? Elena barrels right through the crowd, glaring like trouble and demands again, Tell me, are you not Alba Arisha? Alba realizes he can't sweet-talk his way out of this, so he clenches his resolve, decides to fight fate with everything he's got, and once that choice is made, there's no turning back. After that quick pause, he doubles down and insists, again, that his name is Al. Elena flashes him a smile and answers smoothly, then orders him to carve those words straight into his own body. She suddenly lunges and slashes at him, screaming that this is his crime and his punishment for deceiving the Persia family. As he slips past her strike, dread hits him, because Elena isn't just good at swords, she's the deadliest blade in the entire game. But the real punch to his chest is seeing her wearing sadness on her face instead of rage. The moment she charges to strike again, he just disappears in front of her eyes, bam, leaving her and everyone watching totally stunned. Only to pop up behind her again and order her to calm down. She's frozen even harder. As she swings her sword backward in surprise, Alba effortlessly stops it by catching it with his finger, shocking not only her and Celia but also the crowd watching. He makes it look effortless, all thanks to the raw power of his magic. After he bolted from home, he scoured for magic books that claimed fire, water, and wind were the elemental keys to nature's power, and that the only way through was to sync his spirit with the one that fit him best. Remembering that, he flashes back to his old gaming days. Before every fight, he studied the enemy's weak spots like it was his secret weapon. He cracks open the book's lessons, clears his mind, and syncs with everything around him. Then, out of nowhere, he feels a strange touch that slips past his five senses. By continuing this practice, he discovers that his natural attribute is lightning. From that moment on, he kept sharpening the feeling, refining it again and again for years, until he finally masters magic so completely that he can command it freely. Eventually, he masters the power to turn his own body into pure lightning, then rockets across the world in the blink of an eye. Now that he can finally pull it off, this power hits him like a miracle, and it fits the most vicious villain in him to a T. Back in the present, he begs Elena to just hear him out, but she shuts him down instantly, swearing she won't waste another second on his nonsense. He rushes to apologize, admitting he knows she hates Alba, but now he's just Al, plain and simple. The moment she hears it, her whole body starts trembling with emotion and, right when she's about to answer, Alba disappears again, poof, leaving her speechless. People nearby gasp as he vanishes again, and then their jaws drop even harder when they realize the Saintess is gone too. When Elena spots that both of them are nowhere in sight, her stomach drops. She realizes they've slipped away. Tears spill down her face and a fellow student jumps in, asking if she's okay. She snaps back that she's fine, insisting it's nothing, just a little dust stuck in her eyes. Meanwhile, Alba barrels straight into the city, convinced they've finally gone far enough. Then Celia blurts out how shocked she is to get swept away like that, and Alba immediately shoots back an apology. Clocks are pouting at him and can't ignore it. He blurts out, asking if she's angry, and she snaps back that she's not. Then she turns around and asks who that beautiful lady Elena even was. Before he can even answer, Celia blurts out that yeah, Elena's more mature than her, bigger chest, super pretty, but she's not jealous in the slightest. Hearing that, Alba erupted into laughter and Celia shot him a look like, "Why are you laughing?" He shoots back a warm smile, like he already knows she's a terrible liar. He brushes past it and asks whether they should go to the house father prepared, but Celia shuts it down, and that refusal totally throws him. She tells him flat out she'll only go if he carries her the whole way, then, after a quick pause, he agrees. From today's events, it's clear as day that life at Kriana Academy is already trouble from the very first moment. Later, once they finally reach the house waiting for them, both of them go still, stunned by just how huge it is. As Alba scans the area, Celia suddenly spots something. She grabs his attention and orders him to look. She gestures to a vegetable garden and tells him they'll grow their own crops, just like they do back in the mountains. Alba can't stop staring because this house sits right in the royal capital's core, where people from every corner of the world pack in. A two-story house with its own garden is wildly expensive, so yeah, it totally makes sense that Celia's father can pull strings like that. They step inside and the place hits them immediately, beautifully furnished. And upstairs, Alba and Celia each get their own separate room on the second floor. Still, there's one problem left to solve, so Alba corners Celia and asks about it, and she snaps back that she hasn't gotten a single coin. Alba then admits he assumed her father must have been slipping her living expenses along with the house. But Celia clears it up fast. Her father told her plain as day if she wants an ordinary life, she has to earn her living herself. Alba's heart lifts. She realizes her father isn't just spoiling her, he's pushing her toward real independence. Celia blurts out that even her father promised to throw her money when life got too rough, and that single detail instantly snaps Alba out of his earlier doubts. Now he's convinced her dad is still way too soft. Because their money's basically gone, Alba snaps into action and hunts for work right away, but Celia stops him cold, saying he doesn't have to lift a finger since she'll be the one earning for both of them. When this leaves him totally baffled, Celia leans in and explains it all. Her father has already lined up her job at the church. The saintess carries a divine blessing from the goddess, and one of them, Oracle Hearing, lets her catch the goddess's warnings in time, saving people from disaster after disaster. Another is a healing miracle, high-level magic that erases every wound and illness, and desperate, sick believers swarm in hopes the saintess's power will save them. Celia grabs her share of the donations these believers pile into her hands. She took this role with the pure intention of helping everyone, but the reason she was sent on harsh pilgrimages since childhood was not because of that. He's convinced some greedy mastermind set it all in motion, because every time her pilgrimages roll in, the church's donations explode. So yeah, this saintess is basically a literal gold mine. And when Celia clocks him scowling, she asks what's wrong, but the moment he hears her voice, he snaps out of it and brushes it off, saying it's nothing. He then insists he'll work too so she won't have to stress about money, yet he still sells you questions why she's so calm, even after she keeps telling him she'll earn it herself. Alba snaps that letting a girl do everything while the guy sits there is a hit to his pride, but Celia fires back that if they're living together then it's perfectly fine. He shoots her a blunt look and tells her to save that kind of devotion for the man she'll marry someday. Hearing that, she swings in and starts pounding Alba as he blurts out, "Why?" But the moment he really looks at her, he sees the tears start streaming down her face. Then she storms out, saying she's done caring and that he can do whatever he wants, and when he asks where she's headed, she snaps back that she's going to eat dinner alone. Later, as Alba sprawls in bed, he's convinced he messed up nothing, because right now he's just her companion and she already has a perfect match lined up. In Cryana fantasy, Yuri's the real protagonist, handsome as hell and absolutely deadly with both the sword and magic. Yuri's a straight-up saint, nothing like Alba or any villain, and the wild part is every heroine in the game ends up falling for him. Alba can't shake the feeling that once this happens, he'll finally have zero reason to stay with Celia, and it's already been 3 long months since they first crossed paths. The moment he brought her to his cabin, she stared around like it was magic, then asked if she could really stay. Alba nodded and told her she could stay as long as she wanted, because here she wasn't a saintess at all, just a normal girl. A few days later, she jumped into the fields with him and helped tear through the vegetable harvest. She even jumped in to learn cooking with him, and slowly she got used to that go-man bath he'd built himself. At night, they stride side by side through the mountains, locked under a sky blazing with stars. For the very first time in his life, Celia by his side let him finally breathe, fully and completely relaxed. Right now, if he claims he won't miss her when she leaves, he knows he's lying through his teeth. But if Celia steps into the life that's waiting for her, he'll finally let her go and accept it. He tells himself, if this goes down, I'll dodge the death flag too. Moments later, Celia raps on his door, pushes in, and blurts out an apology for earlier. But then realizes Alba's already passed out, fast asleep. As she tucks a sheet over him, she whispers that it's all because of him that she's here right now, and she keeps thanking him right to the end. Hours later, when sunlight spills through the window and birds start singing outside, Alba jolts awake, realizing it's already morning and wondering how he even passed out. Then his eyes land on something sitting on the table. Celia left him food and a note begging forgiveness for yesterday, then telling him she'd slipped off to the church to handle her duties. After he reads her note, he shoots her a thank you, freshens up, and digs into that burger. He digs into it like it's pure heaven and can't help feeling relieved they've got familiar food. He figures it's because this whole game world is built to mirror what he knows. Since Celia hits the church to earn money, he decides he'll do the exact same thing, no excuses. Soon, he finally reaches the Adventurers Guild, the kingdom's go-between that assigns missions from every corner and hands them out like fate. They take on everything, easy deliveries, then jump straight into the deadliest jobs like hunting down monsters called magic beasts, so every request that comes in is totally different. Those who take on the dangerous requests are the hardened group that gathers here for money and fame, and they are called adventurers. In Kriana fantasy, you don't even need to adventure to beat the story. But for Alba, this is real life, so he shrugs and jumps in anyway because hunting quests is the quickest ticket to cash. After scanning the quest board, he smirks and picks the gigantic magic beast extermination quest, one that pays a whopping 5 million curia, the currency of this world. Even though he's never faced a magic beast yet, he's rock solid sure, because the power he's forged over the last 3 years is going to carry him. Then the guards shout at Alba, telling him the thing he's staring at is the 5-star quest board, and that no newbie like him should ever be sitting at 5 stars. Hearing that, Alba snaps back to a rule rookie adventurers already know: they can only take those simple 1-star requests. An adventurer's star rank increases based on quest completions and contributions to the guild, so he cannot obtain the high rewards without first raising his rank. He heads to the reception area and a receptionist meets him with a grin, explaining that this is the 1-star reception. He starts talking to her about the quest and straight up asks which type would fit him best. After scanning the rank 1 board, she hands him an herb collection quest, then he storms out of the guild. That herb hunting quest barely pays a thing, but he's a total beginner, so he has to start small and grind his way up, 1 rank at a time. Because riding a carriage to the western forest costs a fortune, he drops the plan and sprints instead, then plants his stance and rockets off like lightning. He's moving so fast that everyone else can only see him as a streak of light. Meanwhile, 2 students from Kriana Academy stroll through town and the girl groans that living in a dorm is pure misery. Then the boy fires back that they've got no choice because rent in the royal capital costs an absolute fortune. Even so, he swears it's still a lucky break that they're allowed into Kriana Academy as commoners, and the girl nods, agreeing with him. Just then, Alba rushes past them so quickly that the girl wonders if it was only a gust of wind, but the boy notices what it really was and finds it incredible. Turns out the boy isn't just some random kid, he's Yuri himself, the real protagonist of the Kriana fantasy game. When the girl asked what was wrong, he brushed it off and told her it was nothing, then called her Alice. He shrugs it off and asks if she isn't grabbing too much, and she fires back, "A girl needs all kinds of stuff." Alba slams the brakes the moment he stops, because Yuri isn't the only one who's clocking him, and then Alba spots Yuri too, realizing exactly who he is. Later, deep in the mountains near Kriana Academy, Alba scoured the wild and pulled together every single herb the quest demanded. With the mission done, he straps it all up and heads for the exit, and yeah, even up in those brutal mountain heights he still has to. He jumps from ledge to ledge with zero hesitation, racing his way downward. Years up in the mountains trained him to read every path, now running through the terrain felt effortless. Later, when Alba finally steps into the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist freezes because only 3 hours have passed since he took the quest, and somehow it's already done. She asks how he pulled it off so fast because that round trip usually eats up 6 hours, yet Alba just says he sprinted at top speed and it instantly blows her mind. Since the quest is already done, she doesn't pry, she slips him the quest reward. In just 3 hours, he rakes in 10,000 curia from a 1-star quest, and it's clearly not enough, so he knows he has to climb the ranks fast if he wants bigger payouts. Alright, forget that for now, he can't stop wondering how Celia's doing. While everyone gathers in the church, Celia takes her place as the saintess and prays with fierce devotion for all her followers, right there in the crowd watching. Priests beam at her arrival and her followers erupt in joy, finally she's among them. With this many followers coming to see her, Celia ended up earning over 10 times more than Alba in the same amount of time. Later in the capital, Alba devours ramen, stunned at how incredible the place feels, because yep, it's a ramen shop. And yeah, the capital is where the Arisha Duchy lives, the home of Alba's family. 3 whole years have gone by, so by now his brother should have already taken over the house and the title. Although they are brothers, Alba ran away immediately after his reincarnation, so they are essentially strangers, and he knows little about the state of their relationship. Since they never once denied those rumors of his death, it's obvious they don't care about him, not even a little. Forget the rest, unlike the mountains, the capital is full of folks who actually recognize Alba, so he can't let his guard down or he'll end up running into someone like Elena. As he storms out of the ramen shop, he vows to keep his guard up, because one wrong move could trigger a straight-up death flag. Right then, he hears people screaming, "Watch out," and he realizes they're all warning about a runaway horse. A girl drops to her knees as she scrambles to flee, but the horse rockets straight at her and all she can do is shriek, trapped with nowhere to go. The horse is right there, about to stomp her into the ground. A bolt of lightning rips through the crowd and crashes into the beast. Dust swirls up into the sky and the girl freezes when a bolt of blue lightning rips across the air. Then, as the haze fades, Alba leans in and asks if she's okay. As soon as the view snaps into focus, you see it. Alba has already dropped the horse and is standing tall on top of it. He asks her again, "Are you okay?" And she instantly nods, saying she's totally fine. Alba hops off her horse, topples it by accident, then apologizes to it anyway, only for the girl to thank him right after. She drops, "I've seen you somewhere before," and it hits him like a punch to the chest, like she knows him. And the worst part, if she really is noble, then it wouldn't be weird at all for her to spot the Duke's second son, Alba. Right before he can even answer, the crowd explodes into cheers. He's practically gushing about how badass it was that he took down that wild horse, then he whips his hood up fast to hide his face. He couldn't ignore her scream, so he moved, but the second he keeps drawing attention like this, he's going to get spotted and someone might recognize him as Alba. As he's stuck in thought, a troop of knights storms into the scene and their leader demands, "What's all this commotion?" The moment Alba pulled him to safety, she instantly recognized the man as Duke Ryorshia, and it hit her like a thunderclap. Roy clocks the girl right away and asks if she's from the Lupica barony. She smiles, says she is, and introduces herself as Mina, reminding him they met at his succession ceremony. Then she tells you the hooded man saved her from a runaway horse, and from the way they talk, calling him Duke and dropping hints about the succession ceremony, it's crystal clear. Alba can't stop wondering if Roy is his own brother. Then Roy breaks into heartfelt thanks, praising Alba for keeping public order and for being a true friend to the Lupica family. But Alba goes silent because he can't let Roy uncover who he really is. Roy tries again, asking if Alba never accepted his thanks or if he's just being rude. Alba snaps back and swears that's not true, then tries to slip out fast with a shaky excuse. To his horror, Roy suddenly yells Alba, and the shock hits so hard it freezes him mid-step, forcing him to stop dead. Roy then snaps that Alba's voice sounds just like his dumb little brother, and that's why he blurted out that name. Suspicion prickles him, so he orders Alba to show his face, yet Alba stammers, saying his face isn't worth showing to a duke, but Roy shoots back with a hard, stern voice, "It's my call," and commands Alba to meet his eyes. The second Alba steps into view, the whole situation snaps into deadly serious territory, and he has zero clue what fate is about to hit him. But right then, a voice yells his name, Al, and it hits him like thunder. They've found him. And judging by the way everyone reacts the same way, it's clear this person is someone everyone here already knows. Roy spots her instantly, Elena Persia, and she returns the greeting with a warm, polite, "Good day." For Alba, though, it's a nightmare. Roy, his so-called brother, looms behind him and his old fiancée blocks his way in front, and both of them know the truth about the real Alba. With a tiger looming ahead and a wolf closing in behind, Alba is trapped between teeth and claws, panicking over what to do next. Roy fires a question at Elena. Does she recognize the man? Elena nods and says it's her friend, a squire in training named Al. She says, "Since he blew off our meeting and ran late, I had to come track him down." And she even laughs that showing up late and getting someone to do it feels exactly like the kind of stunt a knight in training would pull. Alba, however, is confused, wondering why she is covering for him. So Roy presses, "Does that mean you're not Alba?" And the second he hears that, Elena snaps into total confusion, swearing she'd never mix Alba up with anyone else. Especially since she used to be his fiancée, and now she keeps reminding everyone that Alba is supposed to be dead. After that, the two of them lock eyes and glare hard at each other for a split second. After that tense pause, Roy nods and says his useless brother who shamed the family name is finally gone, and he even apologizes to Al, who just shrugs it off and says it's okay. Once the issue's settled, Roy pitches the idea of escorting Mina back to her place, and Mina nods along, thanking him as they get ready to leave. Then she spins to Alba and thanks him too for saving her, and Alba gladly takes the compliment. And just like that, they all scatter off, Elena and Alba left alone in the quiet. Because Alba wants nothing to do with him, he snaps into action and bolts, thanking her as he goes, telling her that thanks to her he escaped with no trouble at all, then turns and walks off, waving goodbye. Still reeling from what just went down, he realizes one thing: his cover's still intact, so he bolts before anyone can catch on. But right then bam, he freezes again as Elena steps in, sword raised right beside him. She tells him to stop right now, they need to talk, and then she drops his true name Alba like it's the final warning. He shoots a nervous look away and asks what she means. Then she leans in, warns him that if he keeps pretending, she'll spill his identity to the Duke. Realizing she really knows, he finally throws in the towel and blurts that he'll explain everything. Then he's left steaming because he hasn't even started school and he's already caught in a mess. He pins every single problem on the goddess of fate, convinced she never skips a beat when it comes to tormenting him. The next day at Kriana Academy, the entrance ceremony explodes into action the moment everyone steps in. The headmaster beams at the new students as they step in, congratulating them, then slams one message into their hearts: chase your ambitions and sharpen your wisdom. Reminding them because they're the ones who'll forge the future. That same headmaster, yes, the old man who handed out the dress before, slams his voice loud and declares that the goddess of fate's blessing will light up his destiny, then bursts into a full-throated, "Yay, hooray." Seeing it all, Celia dubs the headmaster totally full of energy, while Alba remembers him from the game as that helper who hands the player hints. As soon as the ceremony wrapped up, Celia and Alba slipped into Kriana Academy without a single hitch, so far. But Alba knows it's only a matter of time before the Academy starts flashing his real death flag signs. Altogether, 5 heroines are tied to these death flags, like the story itself is daring them to meet their end. And yeah, among all of them he's already tangled up with 2, Celia and Elena, and if he pulls in even more trouble it just ups the chances that his death gets triggered. One of the last heroines is the princess. She's a secret character who never shows up at the academy, so she's not on anyone's radar, and that makes her a total wildcard. The real trouble is the other 2, his childhood buddy Alice and the sage's disciple Lily, and Alba can't let his guard down for a second because they're both his classmates. And honestly, that's not even the worst part. There's another person Alba has to dodge at all costs, and they're even more dangerous than all 5 heroines. Yuri's, the game's main character, is standing just a few people away, and that danger isn't only about her being the protagonist, but because almost every villain in the game ends up meeting their end at his hands. Alba tries to keep it all hidden, until their eyes snap together in a split second. Alba snaps her gaze away and Yuri's left blinking, totally thrown off, so when Celia asks Alba what's wrong and Alice presses Yuri too, they both wave it off like it's nothing. Alba swore in silence he'd never get tangled up with Yuri, no matter what, and decided to sail through his academy years invisible, staying off everyone's radar. Later, in the unicorn classroom where Celia and Alba both go, they get boxed in by a ring of curious students staring like they're about to explode with questions. Alba instantly realizes she can't possibly stay invisible, stuck right beside the saintess everyone talks about in whispers and stares at like she's untouchable. Then he spots Celia's shaking nerves and realizes a normal school life won't be easy for her, so he starts panicking, wondering what he's supposed to do. Celia pops up out of nowhere and announces, "I'm Celia Margaret, a first year in the unicorn class." She straight up says she's here not as the saintess, but as their classmate and begs everyone to just call her Celia. The classroom explodes with chatter and she instantly sweeps everyone off their feet. Students start calling her Celia instead of saintess, and that instantly eases one of Alba's worries. Then right on cue, a girl demands, "So, who is Alba?" And the whole room starts whispering. Students spot his face, remember those nasty rumors, and stare at him like he's hiding something. Alba only realizes too late that the academy is packed with noble kids, and even after he changes his hair color and acts different, there's still a real chance they'll sniff out his true identity. Right then, Celia snaps into action and claims him as her friend, this holy knight apprentice named Al. Alba finds this difficult to believe, as becoming friendly with someone suspicious so suddenly seems implausible. The others instantly buy the explanation, greet him with open warmth, and it blows Alba's mind, because she can feel the saintess's terrifying presence in every heartbeat. Then Celia winks at him and Alba answers in silence, gratitude plain on his face. Before Alba can even catch her breath, another student shows up and greets her, then reveals she's Elena herself. Alba fires back asking if she's in the unicorn class too, and Elena nods, telling her, "Yep, we're classmates now." While the others murmur about her beauty and razor-sharp blade skills, Celia slips close and quietly asks Alba, "Is she the girl from that day?" He leans in and admits he really told her the truth, he's Alba, not Al, because she's the woman he used to be engaged to. Elena shoots Celia an apology for the mess she made earlier, bowing respectfully and calling her holiness. But Celia can't move a muscle once she hears the shocker: Alba used to be engaged to Elena. After everything went down with Roy, Alba finally leaned in and told Elena the truth. He was Alba at all, he was the real one. Elena, stunned by the reunion, blurts out why he vanished from home 3 years ago. Was it because he hated the ducal house? Alba nods and tells her the truth. He wanted to burn his old self down and come back reborn as someone completely new. He keeps his reincarnation locked in his mouth because he knows she'll never buy it, and he's terrified that even saying it might summon a death flag. Elena tells us that 3 years back, the Arisha family reached out to her people to call the engagement off, and rumors ran wild. Maybe he'd vanished, maybe he'd died, maybe the Duke had gotten rid of him for good. Alba can only chuckle awkwardly, because honestly it's like everyone's opinion of him must have been terrible. Helena admits her family practically threw a party when they finally split up, thrilled they were done with a delinquent. Then Alba exhales in relief and asks, "So, did you hate him too?" She finally blurts that she's been calling him a despicable, womanizing scoundrel, and that she's even thought about cutting herself down. That confession scares Alba to death, but after a beat, Elena finally blurts out that when she thought he was dead, she cried like her heart was breaking. A blast from their childhood hits. Young Alba once asked a crying Elena what hurt, and she spilled that her father said her personality and sword skills were too masculine, so he wanted her to act more like a woman. Young Alba shot back, blunt as a blade, saying it didn't matter whether she acted like a man or a woman. What mattered was the value of Elena herself, and that moment lit up her heart with pure happiness. After thinking back, she finally admits it. Deep down, she never really hated the Alba of their youth. This bombshell hits Alba out of nowhere, because the game never said a word about it, so he starts spiraling, wondering if the original Alba was ever the real bad guy at all. Elena keeps going, saying he's not just around anymore, he's guarding the Saintess, and he even risked his life to save a woman when a runaway horse charged in. To her, that's the proof he's truly been reborn. Alba can only laugh in this awkward, half-believing way, because yeah, the person underneath really is different now. Elena murmurs, almost like a secret, that he's become exactly like he used to be, yet when Alba can't quite catch it, she just stares in confusion and brushes it off. Then she fires back, asking what he's going to do about the nobles at the academy who hate his guts. Alba just answers, dead serious, he'll do everything he can to make sure he never gets exposed. After a beat, Elena steps in, swears she'll help him, and it totally shocks him. He thanks her with a warm, lingering smile that makes her blush, until she snaps back that in return he'll have to help her too. She blurts out that ever since their engagement fell apart, her inbox has been drowning in suitors, and if any of them dare show up at the academy, he's got to shove them off her. That lands like a punch in the gut, because it smashes right into his dream of staying unnoticed. Back in the present, Alba hammers Elena with her promise and warns him not to forget his end of it, and before either of them can breathe, Celia overhears their shattered engagement. Then her thoughts spiral into a storm of wild assumptions as she strides in to confront Elena, who again calls her holiness. Celia shoots her a firm look and reminds her they're classmates, then demands everyone calls her Celia, and Elena immediately nods along, asking for the same respect in return. And just like that, Elena pats Celia's head to say hello right as Celia freezes in surprise. Then Celia shoots back a greeting and boom, they instantly click. Celia can't stop staring at how beautiful Elena is, while Elena can't help finding Celia downright cute. Celia confronts Alba and demands to know why he kept his connection to Elena locked away. Then Alba fights back, insisting he never hid it at all, he just never got the moment to tell her. Celia rejects the explanation outright and pouts, and Elena can't help but find it adorable. Right then, someone spots Alba gripping a flower in each hand and loudly calls out that he's got both the Saintess and Elena hooked, then snaps back to warn him not to get carried away, saying he's just a lowly holy knight apprentice. When Alba asks who he is, the man scoffs at him like he's nothing but a clueless country bumpkin. Elena spots him and declares that's Walby, Count Walget's eldest son, and she makes it clear he's one of the suitors she wants Alba to deal with. Walby greets Elena with a sweet compliment about her beauty, but Elena snaps back, irritated, insisting he never changes. Walby swears loud and proud that even if his family is just counts, they're still top-tier nobles and he's dead set on pairing them with House Persia, Elena shuts him down in one sharp sentence. Don't bring marriage proposals into the academy. Shocked murmurs roll through the crowd, but Walby leans in and declares loud and clear that as classmates they refuse to let this chance slip away. He praises Elena as the shining flower of the Persia family, royal blood in her veins, and insists she's worth far more than she's ever dared to believe. With total confidence, he sweeps in and asks her to marry him, because he insists it'll bring their families together and benefit them both. Before Lena can even open her mouth, Alba cuts her off with a sharp question: what kind of nonsense is he babbling? And while he does partially meet Elena's earlier request, he's really just acting out of pure disgust for people like Walby. Alba flat out declares that Walby isn't worthy of Elena because he can't see her true worth. The bold statement stuns Walby into silence while the others and Celia are glad Alba intervened. Elena, hauling up memories of their childhood, gets slammed with a powerful rush of emotion the moment he speaks. Rage surges in Walby as he demands to know how Alba dares to insult the House of Walgett. Swearing he'll never forgive this insult, he flings a handkerchief up into the air. Alba snatches it, baffled, and blurts out what on earth it means. Then the crowd suddenly erupted, shouting that it meant a duel, and his whole body froze in pure shock. At Kriana Academy, the rules are ice cold. Students aren't allowed to fight to the death, period, but if someone's pride gets bruised, they can absolutely throw down in a duel to defend their dignity. To kick off a duel, you hurl the official handkerchief at your opponent. If they snatch it out of the air, it's game on, no questions asked. Duels can only happen on the Academy's approved dueling grounds, and you've got to have a referee standing by to call the rules. That referee is a black cat named Kate Sith, and right when he introduces himself, he calls out the duel between Wall and Alba. The crowd explodes with cheers. Some are roaring for Alba, some are booing the Wall, and others show up just to catch a glimpse of that black cat. In the crush of the crowd, Celia blurts out, shocked that Alba actually agreed to the duel, while Elena stands right beside her, firing off a brutal truth: running from a duel is a disgrace worse than death, so Alba better get ready. Even after she spoke, Alba stayed frozen in shock because he accidentally agreed to the duel without a single clue about the rules. Walby jeers at him, calling him a country bumpkin and shoving him towards surrender right now while there's still a chance. Before Alba can even fire back, the referee steps in and orders them to say out loud what their pride and dignity are worth. Alba remembers that back in the game, duels were just a sideshow with zero impact on the real story, so there was no way they were tied to his death flag. Walby declares that if Alba loses, he must stay out of Elena's affairs, adding that he will also take the same test for himself. This is enough to light Alba up in pure fury, and with his death flag not even mattering right now, he just accepts it. He says, if I win, Wall has to keep his distance from us. Walby grins like he's already won, locking in both sides' oaths, and the referee steps in. Bam, the duel kicks off. With the crowd roaring, Celia grabs Elena's attention and demands to know if Walbite is really that strong. Elena answers that Walbite is a fire mage, and in their year, the deadliest one, the absolute best for raw destructive power. Walby slams into a chant as blazing flames whirl into his hand. Watching that, Alba can't shake the feeling he's about to start with a spell, because the mana is bursting at the seams, and the referee cat instantly clocks that Walby is getting ready to unleash a high-level incantation. With the spell roaring in his throat, purgatory flame hurl launched a giant fireball that smashed the wall and blasted straight at Alba. She hurls an explosion so violent it knocks everyone back, then Celia panics and shouts Alba's name. As smoke swallows the arena, Wall bursts into laughter, certain Alba is nothing but ash, then turns to the referee and asks if murder in a duel counts as a crime. The cat fires back, no, not that, then reminds Walby, since I'm the referee, my job is to shut down this kind of mess. Walby's totally lost and the referee quickly clears it up, there's no need to jump in just yet. Right then, Alba pops up behind the wall and calmly tells them, those flames were impressive. And just like that, he calls out how Wall leaves himself totally exposed while chanting. Walby, too shocked to respond coherently, demands to know how Alba appeared behind him. The referee cat is equally impressed by Alba's speed. Anyone who's seen Alba fight knows that move. He teleports in the blink of an eye and everyone's left staring, begging to know how he pulls it off. Elena remembers the first time they met at the academy. Right there, he used the same ability to slip past her strike and snatch it back at breakneck speed, and now she can't help thinking his moves feel downright inhuman. Before she can finish her sentence, another voice blurts out, "Lightning." The girl quickly clears it up. Alba doesn't create asterisk lightning at all, he turns his own body into the lightning itself. She explains that magic is basically forcing new phenomena into the world, and then Alba just becomes one on the spot. The other students freeze, whispering in shock at her sudden appearance. Sure, they think she's adorable, but the real buzz is all about who she is. She shrugs them off and thinks, so that's why Alba can cast magic without chanting. But even then, she admits it's brutal, so dangerous and so hard that most people here can't even begin to wrap their heads around it. Alba snaps to the announcement, blurts out his name, and then declares that the power he's showing is the sage's territory, so she refuses to fall to him. Meet Lily, one of Cryana's heroines, and the sage's own disciple. Right back in the duel, Alba suddenly appears behind him, so he scrambles away fast and shouts that Alba won't slip out again, then he starts chanting yet another spell. With that long, grating incantation dragging on, Alba snaps at him to cut it out again. Chanting leaves him packed with openings, and when Walby still won't listen, Alba flashes back into lightning and crashes in with a strike. Strikes before the chant is complete, thrusting him away. Walby gets launched out of the ring and slams into the ground, and Alba can't help thinking, did I go too far? Because Walby has clearly left. The ring and the referee cat blares the verdict, Alba is the winner. Then all the students erupted in cheers for Alba, while a few cat nurses bolted to Walby, checked him, and good news, found him unconscious but totally unharmed. In the crowd, two students lock in like it's life or death. Yuri is the real protagonist, and his childhood friend Alice, the other heroine, is watching too. They're totally blown away by Alba casting without a single chant, like the impossible is happening right in front of them. Alice is so thankful they saw that duel, she immediately turns to Yuri for his take. He nods and tells her the truth. Sure, it looked like Alba ended Walby with a single strike, but in reality, Alba never even connected. He just drove his arm forward so fast it screamed through the air, blasting out a shockwave strong enough to hurl him clean through the wall. Alice is absolutely blown away by that, and Yuri's confirmation seals it. Alice fires back that Alba isn't the only unbelievable one, because while she and the other students just caught a smear and a flash of blue, Yuri actually saw the motion clearly and broke it down in detail. Curious, she blurts out who'd win if Yuri's and Alba went toe-to-toe. Yuri freezes in shock, and Alice quickly explains that if he can track Alba's every move, then he just might be able to counter them. She corners him, demanding he admit he's still going to lose, and Yuri nods right along, saying they don't even need to fight. After a quick pause, he finally admits it. If Alba ever brings heartbreak to the people he loves, he won't back down or lose himself. After the duel ends, Alba catches up with Celia and Elena. Celia gushes about his raw strength, and Elena can't hold back her shock, asking where that kind of power ever came from. He tells her he spent his days training deep in the mountains, but the truth is, it wasn't just grind and practice, it was the real Alba's raw talent too, and only he knows that secret in this whole world. In the game, Alba is a powerful character capable of becoming the final boss, and if that Alba trains and grows, he can become strong enough not to lose even to the protagonist. With that power on the horizon, the protagonist finally breathes easy. His faith in his own strength isn't empty hope. Helena points out that the same guy who once despised hard work is now training like a beast, like he's a whole different person, and Alba shoots back that he's been reborn into a brand new self. Celia leans in and asks if the old Alba was really that terrible, and Elena doesn't hold back. She calls him the absolute lowest of the low, leaving Alba awkward as hell, while Celia pushes on and insists that no matter what to her. However, Alba is the best. She hugs him, prompting him to remind her once again to call him Al within the academy. He blurts out that maybe he pushed too hard in the duel, but Celia shuts him down fast, insisting that if anyone dares mess with Elena, they'd better be ready to get launched flying. She vows that if anything goes wrong, she'll heal him, then he calls her a trustworthy saintess. Watching them, Elena feels something stir inside her. She thanks Alba for dueling on her behalf, and he reminds her that he promised to protect her. Elena blushes and agrees. Alba insists everything's totally fine, because those duels don't change the fact that his death flag is still dead set on ruining him. And fate won't slow down. While he has no idea, the key players are already getting pulled into the next twist. A few days later, back in their capital home, Alba crashes into deep sleep. Then Celia shows up and shakes him awake for breakfast. She straddles him and demands a good morning, and the second he opens his mouth he gasps, "I can't breathe," and she just smirks, "Relax, you wouldn't have woken up otherwise." After washing up, Alba plops down at the dining table to dig in, and when he sees the feast she cooked, he lights up and tells her skills have leveled up. She fires back, reminding him she truly put in the work out in the mountains and got tons of practice. Then he offers to cook dinner for the night, and she shoots back that she wants her share of the nikujaga he's been making. After breakfast, they rush to head for the academy and Celia grabs his attention, reminding him to never forget his lunch, so he shoots back a grateful thanks. Alba froze mid-step when she clocked that the lunchbox looked way too much like the bento he used to get back in his old life, so Celia blurted, "What's wrong?" Alba tried to shrug it off, saying it was nothing, and Celia shoved them along. "Come on or we're gonna be late." Celia then lights up and says the academy classes are super fun, asks what he thinks, and he admits, brutally honest, that he finds them insanely hard. On the way to the academy, he runs into a few friends, plus Elena, and he greets her with a bright good morning, just like the others. Later in class, Alba idly twirled his pencil and sighed, finally letting himself enjoy how peaceful life at the academy had been. Ever since that duel on day one he's been watching, nothing even close to a death flag has shown up. When the teacher calls out for an answer, Celia leans in and tells Alba to snap to attention, then Elena steps up, answers the question and gets praised for it. After class ends, Alba slinks through the school hallway solo, because not a single student dares to come near him. That's when it finally clicked, maybe he'd pushed too hard in that duel because the students around him looked absolutely shaken by how terrifying he'd become. Thanks to that, he dodges every single death flag like they're cursed bullets, and yeah, he should be grateful, but the emptiness still hits him and he can't help feeling a little lonely. Meanwhile, during lunch, Elena slides over to Celia and demands to know where Alba is, and Celia can't help but say just how unbelievable Alba is as he ate the bento all by himself before the break even started. After that, he said he was going to take a nap and left, which he indeed does, as he is now sleeping under a tree. Hearing that, Elena can't help but wonder, has he really changed, or is he still the same delinquent underneath it all? Alba dodges lunch with them because it's one of those situations where grabbing a meal with the heroines boosts your favorability with them. He feels awful for Celia, but he can't mess around, he has to dodge anything that could trigger a death flag. Right as he's drifting off, a girl suddenly slides in, asks if she can join him for lunch, and he's left completely stunned. Turns out it's the girl he saved from that runaway horse, and she's thanking him again like her heart can't stop showing gratitude. He snaps, "I know you," but his mind goes blank on her name, so she leans in and tells him it's Mina. She expresses how surprised she was to learn from the duel that he is a first-year student at the same academy as her. As Alba replies that he is surprised as well that she attends this academy, Mina reaches out her lunchbox toward him. Nervous as a heartbeat, she blurts out that she wants to thank him, then hurriedly makes him a bento and tells him to take it. This hits Alba like a gut punch, because it's almost identical to the lunch event from the game. He doesn't remember Mina in any of the heroines, so there's only one conclusion: she's a total side character. Since Alba won't reply, Mina takes it as a straight-up rejection and rushes to apologize for bothering him. But he snatches the bento from her hand in a flash and blurts out his thanks. He says he'll gladly take it, and her face lights up like her heart just won. Since Alba isn't the main character, she shrugs and goes, "No problem," then digs into her bento like it's totally fine. Right there under the tree, Alba starts digging in and tells everyone how insanely delicious the food is, then Mina hears him and fires back, "Really?" with pure excitement lighting up her face. She keeps calling him Sir Al, and he snaps at her to lose the Sir since they're classmates, so right after that she starts calling him Al. Alba then blurts out that she shouldn't get too close to him, so the girl fires back, "Why?" He growls back that if she sticks with a guy like him, people will start brushing her off too, and in his eyes that's the real downside. She gets exactly what Alba means and then fires back that this choice is all hers. She doesn't care a bit what anyone thinks or how they judge her. Alba shoots him with those earnest eyes and that stubborn spark in her spirit, and suddenly he's convinced she's the kind of strong-willed character the game never lets you ignore. Mina then blurts out that there are perks too, and when Alba's totally lost, she throws him an example. If she gets close to him, he might just save her again. Hearing that, both of them burst into laughter and he shoots back that he'll do everything he can to help her. Then, out of nowhere, someone slides up and asks if they're having fun, shocking Alba to her core. It's Celia wearing a fake smile as she bites out that he wouldn't even eat lunch with her, but somehow he's flirting with another girl right here. Alba snaps to his feet and blurts out it's all a misunderstanding, he's not flirting with Mina. Mina, who's already rising to her feet, suddenly blurts out that she's heading back to class and it totally stuns Alba. Then as she makes her way back, she greets Celia and slips out with a quick excuse. Mina's sudden dash out the door leaves Celia and Alba completely baffled. But once she spots Celia as the saintess, she slips away for a whole different reason. Hold up, Alba clears it up. That girl was Mina, his classmate from the time he helped her before. Hearing that, Celia leans in, asking if Mina is the same girl he saved from that runaway horse. He confirms it, then remembers she's from the Lupica barony and Elena already knew about her too. Celia points out that if she's their classmate, she could be stepping into the next event. That hits Alba like a punch, because in the moment he suddenly realizes the event is finally starting. Kriana Fantasy's very first big in-game event, Youth Field Trip, gets thrown into motion when the headmaster himself proposes it. Students have to charge into the Neep Forest, smash magic beasts and grab medicinal herbs at the same time, basically a hands-on tutorial to teach fresh players how to fight. So they're only supposed to summon weak magic beasts, which makes it pretty safe, though it's still a huge deal because depending on what you choose, you can forge a deeper bond with one of the heroines, but with Alba, every step sparks a deadly death flag, and he's quietly fighting to dodge it. Later that day, the students are dumped into the Neep Forest for their field trip. Nervous as a cat, Celia asks if fighting magic beasts isn't a little scary and Alba smirks, telling her it's totally fine, because everyone's there and only the weak ones will show up. Elena then quickly reassures Celia she's got her sword and she's got her back right as the teacher steps up, demands everyone follow him and swears he's the last kind of teacher who'd ever get beaten by a magic beast. Alba, who knows this moment inside and out, sees the teacher's confidence right now, but she's already sure the next move will tear that smile clean off his face. From what he can remember, the game spits out 4 choices, and one of them is to rush in, save the students and treat them right there with Celia. Another path is teaming up with Elena to fight the magic beast, but then the story throws you choices: save Alice, the original protagonist's childhood friend who got separated, or gamble on Lily, even though he can't quite remember how it all went down. For now, forget that out of the 4 options, the protagonist is guaranteed to show up. So Alba has to be razor sharp with his choice. If he picks the same road as the protagonist, he's basically sealing his own fate. As the field trip kicks off, Celia scans the jungle with her friends while Elena mows down monsters left and right, and the other students can't stop staring in awe. Meanwhile, Yuli's and Alice are huddled together, chatting like they've got secrets, while Lily stays quietly absorbed in her book. Meanwhile, the teacher steadies a whole group of students, barking that they need to stay calm and stop swinging at the moment, because they're about to step straight into the magic beast's habitat. Suddenly, he feels the ground tremble under his feet and senses something uncanny closing in until it clicks, and he finally realizes exactly what it is. But it's already too late. Only when the monsters creep in dangerously close does he finally realize it's a stampede. Panic erupts through the students as their teacher claws for control, shouting for everyone to retreat, right now. Celia, hovering near the teacher's group, spots the beasts and freezes in pure shock, while Elena scrambles to calm everyone down. While the monsters close in, Lily feels a weird presence lurking nearby, and then Alice gets split from Yuli's, who snaps his sword up the moment he spots the students stampeding in pure terror. Alba, who had anticipated this exact scenario, now fully confirms that it is the great stampede of the demonic beasts. The teacher instructs all students to stay calm and head out of the forest while he acts as a decoy. As the monsters close in fast, Celia's friends shout for her to bolt and she's ready to run. Elena snaps back, telling everyone to stay calm and crowd behind her. True to his word, the teacher throws himself into the fight, desperately stalling the monsters and snagging precious seconds so the students can get away. Meanwhile, Alba stays calm as he plots his next move, because what he does right here could either forge or fracture his bond with the heroines. The closer he gets to any one of them, the closer he marches straight into his death flag, and there's no way he's letting fate claim him. So yeah, he commits to the very same route Alba, the original villain, picked in the game. To slam the brakes on his life, abandon everything and sprint into the unknown. Celia and her crew finally dragged themselves to a safer spot, then out of nowhere, a bear-like monster tore into one of them. Celia's scream rips through the air and the creature whips its attention straight to her. When it charges, she snaps her eyes shut and howls for Alba, terrified and desperate for him to be right there. Alba pops into the scene like lightning and hammers the bear away with a brutal kick. Celia gasped as she opened her eyes, and the moment she saw Alba, relief hit. She blurted out his name. After Alba crushes the monster, he snaps at Celia to get out of the forest right now. She's grateful he saved her, but she refuses to run. With her healing magic blazing, she stitches up her injured friend, then chokes out that she's scared, yet she still swears she's going to help everyone. She believes Alba can save them all with his power and asks him to do so. The second he hears her, Alba nods, bam, all logic goes out the window and those death flags stop mattering to him. Now he's convinced that fleeing just to save himself would be pathetic, so he swallows his fears, agrees to Celia's request and promises her it's all on him, then she warns him to stay careful. Meanwhile, Elena squares up against a mantis-like monster, and just like that she wipes it out without breaking a sweat. Right after that, she shouts for everyone to run, but then two more monsters pop up behind her before she even gets a chance to react. Right on cue, before the monsters even get to attack, Alba unleashes his lightning and obliterates them, turning each one to dust. He then asks if she is alright, and surprised to see him, she replies that she is, of course, fine, and tells him not to underestimate her. Alba nods and says he knows exactly how skilled she is, and that crushes her smile into pure happiness. Still, he tells her to stay on her guard because overconfidence gets people killed, and she nods like, got it. Then he leans in and says he's heading deeper into the forest, asking her to watch over this area. She agrees instantly and fires back, be careful out there too. Then he pushes deeper into the forest, hunting down and wiping out as many monsters as he can. From what he can remember, the whole thing ends the moment the player finally beats the boss hiding in the deepest part of the forest. What worries him the most is the demonic beasts showing up here, because this event is meant for total beginners, so only low-level monsters should be in play. But these monsters, they're the ones that usually pop up in the game's midsection, so he's certain something's gone off-script because the way he's been acting doesn't match the lore anymore. When he finally pushes into the deepest part of the forest, he slams into the final boss, except it's changed again, now a three-headed demonic beast, the Chimera. With that memory burning in his mind, struggling just to survive, he realizes this isn't some tutorial boss at all. And then, out of nowhere, a scream rips through the air begging for help, and it knocks the breath out of him. Turns out the student got snared and now he's trapped in the Chimera's snake-like tail. While the real shock hits, Alba looks at the girl and recognizes her. It's the heroine, Alice. She rushes in, introduces herself, and begs for help, saying she got lost, then the monster caught her. Even with her locked to his death flag, he refuses to abandon her, so he charges in, attacks the Chimera fast, and fights for her life. To his shock, his attack lands with nothing, no effect. The Chimera snaps back fast, blasting fire, and he just barely dodges it. Alice then blurts out that the Chimera's form is shifting at breakneck speed, leaving him even more lost. She explains that one phase blasts magic right back but crumples under physical hits, and in the next phase it flips the whole script, magic wrecks it while physical attacks fail. 2 phases, 2 completely different patterns. Because the Chimera's getting blasted with lightning, magic can't touch it right now, and when Alba finally realizes that, everything clicks, explaining why he nearly got crushed fighting this boss in the game. In the game, the monster could not be defeated without cooperation from the player's allies. Knowing that, he plans to use magic to close the distance and then rely on physical attacks. He follows the plan to the letter, lands the perfect hit, and then the Chimera snaps, suddenly talking back. I told him that punch was pure waste, and that he'd never ever win. After that, it counterattacks, but Albus whips out of the way in a flash and slips back fast. Bare-handed fighting sounds impossible, but he has no choice. He's got to figure it out because he came without a single weapon. Alice screams that his attempt is pathetic and begs him to do his best, and that hits a nerve with Alba. She snaps back that Alice has zero right to judge when she's the one who got captured. Rage surges through the monster as it tightens its coils around Alice, squeezing her until agony rips through her whole body. Right as it's about to crush her, the serpent's body gets violently slashed to pieces, and she's suddenly free. That revelation slams into Alba, because the one behind it is none other than Uli. Alice told him she just knew Ulis would come for her, and he smiled back like, "Of course I would." The monster then shifts its focus from Alba to Ulis, who gently places Alice beneath a tree and tells her to rest while he handles the creature. With that, he charges straight at the chimera, snapping, "Are you angry?" Because rage is already burning in him after it dared to hurt someone precious to him. Alba goes still as she watches the fight, and then Ulis's lightning-fast, razor-precise strikes hit her like a shock, even though she should have expected it because he's the protagonist. No matter how hard he swings, those strikes barely scratch the chimera, like it's shrugging him off for some reason. Alice explains the monster can shift its weakness on the fly. Before, physical attacks would wreck it, but now it shrugs them off like nothing, which means it's probably weak to magic right this second. Understanding this, Alba rejoins the fight and delivers a powerful kick charged with lightning. This time the strike lands and slams into one of the chimera's heads, tearing it up for serious damage. Even though Alba doesn't want Ulis anywhere near her, she pushes past it, teams up with him to end the fight fast, and straight up promises she'll lend him a hand. Meanwhile, Alice can't contain her excitement as this new twist unfolds. Ulis begs Alba for a plan, and Alba snaps back that there isn't one, because there's only one move left to make. Ulis nods, and the two of them sprint straight into the chimera side by side. Alba lunges in first with a lightning kick, but the chimera twists its weakness again, so his strike fizzles out like it never hit. Uli suddenly finds his opening to slam in a hit, then he tells them to keep trading attacks. Alba nods and agrees. From a distance, Alice can't shake the feeling the chimera picked the wrong fight, because every time it shuts Alba down, it leaves a gap wide open for Uli to unleash her sword skills. Blocking Uli's swordsmanship leaves it exposed to Alba's magic. By teaming up like this, they lock into an unstoppable combo, the deadliest first-year duo there is. Uli's freezes when Alba unleashes her terrifying lightning-based magic, while Alba finds Uli's lightning-fast sword skills just as terrifying. Together, they carve through the chimera without breaking a sweat. Then, right after the fight, Ulis rushes to thank Alba, grateful they managed to rescue Alice safely. Alice joins in too, but Alba just waves him off, acting like it's no big deal. Ulis changes the subject and demands, "How did you know both our names?" Since they only learned his from their duel, then Alba freezes and blurts that he keeps tabs on the strong kids his age, which Alice shrugs off as childish but totally believable, because Ulis is the strongest kid from their village. Yet even after she knows that, Alba still fires the question. Are Ulis and Alice childhood friends, since they're both from the same place? Ulis says they grew up together, and that's why he's finally able to breathe easy knowing she's safe. So Alice presses him, "Were you really that worried?" And Ulis admits it, she's basically like a little sister to him. Hearing that, her face falls a little, she clicks her tongue, then murmurs, "Little sister," over and over. Alba clocks it in a split second, then bam, she punches Yuli and claims she can be the older sister too. Right then, Alba realizes Yuli's got his hands completely full. Yuli suggests they head back to the others, but because Yuli and Alice come from the Holy Wolf group while Alba's from the Holy Horse group, Alba decides to slip back alone. Still, Yuli pushes them to at least meet halfway, and Alice tells him to stop acting so distant. They're friends, after all, but he shuts it down, saying he can't stand being dragged along even though the truth is way darker. To him, they're basically walking death flags. Ulis pushes back no more. If he's set on going alone, then fine. Ulis accepts it and lets him have the call. Before they part, Ulis tells him that he will never forget Alba's kindness. Inside his head, Alba snaps a warning to Uli, "Don't look at him with that sweet, kind smile." Their fates were sealed to turn into rival enemies, ones who would someday kill each other, no matter what. Honestly, it would have been way easier later if Ulis had started off with a mean, bad attitude toward him right from the start. Once they're gone, Alba whips around to a nearby tree and demands, "Who's there?" Then he tells the mysterious presence straight up that he's known all along, they've been watching the whole time. Stuck on the fact he can't spot them, he blurts out whether it's invisibility magic, then the other person just goes silent. Then Alba cuts straight to the truth, hiding is pointless. Once he's in that lightning state, he can feel every presence nearby. He snaps again for them to hurry up and show themselves, wondering if they're really a threat. Then she's stunned, because somehow he can spot her invisible camouflage technique so easily. As she disables the invisibility magic, the figure turns out to be Lily, which shocks Alba. Lily steps forward and introduces herself, sure that Alba just doesn't know who she is yet. Alba then fires a question: how does she know his name? And when he presses, she tells him straight, there isn't a single first year on campus who hasn't heard of him. His flashy duel still haunts him, and it drives Alba into pure frustration. He wishes he'd never even tried that stupid wall, and he blames everything on him. He puts it aside and fires off a question: why was Lily hiding? Lily admits that when she got there, the whole place was already in the middle of a fight, so she just watched from the shadows. She tells her that this special kind of magic is a legend she's only ever heard from her own master, and the second Alba hears it, he blurts out that she must mean his lightning. She laughs it off and shoves him to check the chimera instead. Right then, the chimera starts dissolving into smoke, and Alba freezes in shock as its whole body fades away before her eyes. Then Alice lays it all out: its magic energy leaked away, and the whole chimera was just a fake copy pulled from another dimension. But it sails right over Alba's head, leaving him totally lost and clueless. Alice keeps going, snapping into a clearer explanation and tying it straight back to the magical theory behind forging interdimensional phenomenon. Still, it doesn't click for him, so she fires off the name of that theory again. She explains that making fire isn't magic at all. It's all about using the right tools to smash out frictional heat, like the world itself runs on that natural rule. Magic is different because it laughs in the face of nature and conjures fire out of thin air. Similarly, someone used magic to fabricate a copy of a phenomenon, the chimera, and make it appear from another world into this one. Alba hears this and blurts out whether it vanished because it wasn't a true chimera, just one conjured by magic. Lily nods and says, yep, then explains it's a rare kind of magic ordinary people can't even touch. Before Alba can even finish his thought, he realizes something's off, and that's when Lily steps in, warning him that these attackers look like they're hunting the students. Those same mages who birthed the chimera are watching the whole scene unfold from miles away. One of them blurts out a first-year student took down a chimera, and then they can't help but gush that Kriana Academy is seriously impressive. The other mage shrugs and says it's only natural. Kriana Academy is one of the three great powers, right there with the royal family and the church. Setting that aside, the mage addresses the other as Yoru and informs her that she is out of mana and cannot use any more magic. Since that is the case, they decide to retreat. Yoru the mage snaps, calling the other malady, and demands to know if another chance is coming. She snaps back and tells Yoru to deal with it herself, but Yoru fires back that her powers just aren't built for a group brawl. Then both mages vanish in a blink, teleporting away. Meanwhile, Alba sinks into deep thought, because in the game this was only meant to be a harmless tutorial, yet now it's blasting his worst suspicion right out into the open. The whole scenario is flipping fast. He can't shake the feeling that the mages who summon magical beasts might be tied to his death flag. And if they're really hiding as his enemies, he's going to show them absolutely zero mercy. Lily blurts out that the chimera's vanished, so she's sure the enemy isn't lurking in the forest anymore. Then Alba snaps that they're turning back to the others and tells Lily to do the same. As he turns to go, Lily blurts out a question: who taught him magic? He doesn't even flinch, just says he taught himself. When Lily realizes he's self-taught, her shock slips out as a quiet mutter in another language. Before she blurts that he's utterly fascinating and admits she's taken a real interest in him. As soon as she says that, she vanishes, leaving Alba completely stunned, because it clicks in his head that in this event the player can also deepen their bond with Lily. Meanwhile, Celia hustles to heal the injured students, while Elena keeps battling monster after monster, until they start vanishing one by one. Seeing that, Alice snaps to the truth: someone did this, while Lily lets out a quiet, mischievous giggle. Alba stews with irritation when he realizes he accidentally raised the death flag too, right alongside all the other heroines. Even so, when he returns to Elena and Celia, he feels relieved that everyone is safe. At the academy, a black cat darts to the headmaster and spills the whole story, making it clear that nobody got hurt. The headmaster shoots the cat a thank you for its report and calls it Tamakuro. Then the cat starts laying out what the enemy's real goal could be, but it can't finish before the headmaster shrugs and decides it might have just been the first-year students, or maybe something else entirely. What haunts him most is this: he can't pin down who the enemy even is, and the headmaster has no clue who they are or where they came from. He slams the truth down and warns them, Don't you dare underestimate this academy. Soon, Roy Ereshia rushes onto the scene and the teacher spills what happened, a fake magic beast stampede. He catches it instantly, snaps orders to the knights to fan out and scour the whole forest, and they jump on it without a second thought. With everything he's learned so far, Roy can't shake the question, what if the real target wasn't the first-year students at all? Meanwhile, the students are ushered to safety, and their teacher practically pulls them into relief, thanking them for their hard work, showing where they'll sleep tonight and blowing everyone's minds when it turns out the place is in. It turns out the onsen is magical. Your teacher declares it can heal injuries and wipe out illnesses, then tells the students to get in, rest, and recover there. That's what makes Alba think the academy has real nerve, taking a deadly incident and turning it into a class activity. And the second Celia hears that, she fires back asking him what he means and when he finally breaks down that it was the magic beast attack he meant, she shoots back, wasn't that just some regular practical combat class? Because to him it had been terrifying as hell. Alba freezes in disbelief at how clueless she feels, then Elena bursts out loud, insisting the magic beasts were set up by the academy. Alba tries to get her to fix it, but she shoots back, I already know, and then smugly points out that hiding the truth like this is the perfect way to dodge panic. He hears that and whips his head around, then spots the other students, totally clueless about what just happened, buzzing with excitement to hit the hot springs, and it all makes his doubts click into place. She might be right. And he's convinced that just like the three of them, plenty of other students also felt it, something was terribly wrong. As Alba and Elena hash it out seriously, Celia sits in the dark, completely clueless, and blurts out just how lost she feels. When she admitted she didn't understand a thing, Elena blurted out an apology, and vowed she'd explain everything clearly, step by step. Later, Alba flops onto the ground and rolls around like he's lost his mind, and another student blurts out, "What are you doing?" Alba grins and says he's soaking in the tatami mats and tasting the soul of Japan, leaving the next student staring, totally baffled, and asking, "Wait, what do you mean?" These moments hit him all over again. Yep, he's trapped inside a game world, and that's why it blends Japanese and Western styles like it can't choose just one. The moment one student starts feeling hungry, another snaps. Dinner comes after the bath, so they sprint straight for the hot springs, trading sharp warnings to not peek into the women's bath, and when Alba hears it, her mind sparks with a memory. In Crayon Fantasy, there's this juicy secret optional event where you can sneak a peek at the women's bath. And if the player picks that option, they'll get to view the heroines in a revealing state. But the moment they do, their affection drops to -1 and romance with them becomes totally off the table. It is a hidden element that players should avoid if they want to complete the game properly. However, since Alba does not want to raise his affection with the heroines, he wonders whether triggering this event might help him avoid his death flags. Later, he finally slips into the hot spring with the rest of the students, just as the whole group settles in. As he thinks about this possibility and hears the girls talking on the other side of the wall, he can vividly imagine their features. He's shaking with nerves, but he desperately tells himself he doesn't really want a peek, he's only doing it to dodge those deadly death flag vibes. Right then, Ulyss snapped his attention with a shout, asking if everything was okay because he'd clearly drifted off. As Alba nervously blurts it out, Ulyss clocks the look on his face and asks what's going on. Alba insists everything's fine and claims the timing couldn't be more perfect. Then he dives into the hot spring, realizing he can't stand the idea of doing something that pathetic after all. Meanwhile, on the women's side, Elena spills out how thankful she is to Alba for stepping in and helping her with that whole wall situation. Then she quizzes Celia about Alba, since Celia lives with him, while Celia panics and quickly, nervously shuts it down. She tells them, just like Elena, I'm grateful to Alba for saving me, and then she gushes that he's the kind of person she truly respects, until Alice suddenly pops up right beside them and shouts, he saved me too. Then Celia and Elena stare because they've never seen her before and demand to know who she is. Alice jumps in and introduces herself as Alice from the Fenrir group, and then Elena and Celia step up to introduce themselves right after. Moments later, Alice blurts out that Alba saved her from the Chimera and Celia hardly even blinks. It's exactly what Alba does. Alice nods along and then, since they're talking about the Chimera, she adds that once it was crushed, the other magic beasts vanished too. When Elena hears this, her gut hardens. Someone really did set up that stampede with a fake trigger just to go after the students. Celia shudders at the idea and can't stop asking herself who would be cruel enough to pull it off. She spots Alice staring and fires off a question, and Alice answers by asking if she's the Saintess. The moment Celia confirms it, Alice snaps and grabs the exact spot on her. Celia jolts, screams, and gasps, "I can't take this anymore." Alice blurted out an apology and laughed that she's just too overjoyed to touch the Saintess. Then Celia cut in and told her, "You don't have to do any of that." Seeing that, Elena snaps that Celia is a hypocrite, because Celia literally pulled the same stunt on her just moments ago. At that scream, Albus snapped his lightning power on and vaulted over the wall in a flash, landing with a perfect view of the girls' side of the hot spring. But that's not even the biggest thing. When the girls spot him with Celia, they erupt in screams, Celia calling him a pervert, and Alice, without her glasses, leans in hard, trying to figure out if Alba is totally naked. Alba tries to say he only panicked after he heard the scream, but before the words even finish leaving his mouth, Elena hurls a wooden bucket straight at him, and it lands hard. As Alba crumpled to the ground, Uli came firing back. Yeah, he understood sprinting over after a scream, but peeking was still a hard no. And he makes it crystal clear, don't throw lightning near a hot spring either, because outside of Uli, everyone drops cold from the shock. Ignoring all of that, Alba wonders whether this situation counts as him succeeding in the peaking event. Later on, Yuli finally apologizes once she realizes the whole commotion was Alice's fault, and she forces Alice to apologize too because she blurts that the Saintess she idolized was standing right there, so she couldn't help herself. Celia insists the scream is all her fault, but Alba snaps that Alice is nothing but a troublesome girl. Alice snaps that Alba's just jealous of the view she got. Alba immediately denies it, but Elena and Celia don't buy a word and turn ice-cold hostile, and even though it's a relief to see their feelings fade, it still leaves him stinging a little. Yuli then blurts out that the Saintess is special to his crew, and Celia fires back, "What are you talking about?" He tells them how their old village is soaked in legends about a hero who once protected the goddess of fate, and Alice jumps in saying they were raised on the goddess's teachings from day one, so the Saintess isn't just important to them, she's everything. With that said, Elena snaps out that Alice is still clutching the chest of that same important person, and Alice blurts out another apology. Once everything's set, Yuli steps forward and says he's Alice's childhood friend, then Celia and Elena follow suit with their own names, while Alba silently watches their connection spark in front of her. It feels like the moment is finally here. Yuli's, the real protagonist, has already started snatching the story back into his hands. He just watches them trade words in silence, and this heavy feeling churns in his chest, something he can't quite name. Then he starts to walk off, tossing out that dinner's almost here, and once everyone agrees with him, they all follow him to the same place. Alba chokes on frustration, slams himself for getting jealous of Ulis, and reminds his own heart he's the villain, not the hero. Later, the Academy sets up a dinner for all of them, and they dig in like it's the best thing they've ever tasted. But just then, Alba notices that someone is missing, so he asks Celia whether she has seen Mina, the first-year student. Celia asks if he is talking about the girl she met during the lunch break and replies that she has not seen her. Still, Elena wears a serious face as she says her father told her something this very morning, something so unbelievable she can barely wrap her mind around it. Alba snaps, asking if she knows anything, then Elena drops the bombshell that Mina's parents, the Lupica family's heads, were murdered. At the Lupica estate, everything's eerily still, so still you can only hear Mina's sobs echoing through the silence. She's wrecked with grief over her dead parents, begging the universe why it had to happen and hoping someone will finally come rescue her. Then Elena drops the bomb that the killer still hasn't been caught, and once Alba hears that, she can't shake the feeling it might be tied to his deadly death flag fate. Because Mina's just a side character in the game, she can't be pulled into the main story. Celia then blurts out that she wants them to do something for Mina, because dying hurts too much to face alone. Elena nods along and Alba gets it instantly, because Celia's the kind of person who's witnessed so many deaths that her words hit like truth, and yeah, he agrees too. So he's sure his death flags are totally unrelated to what happened, and as Mina's friend, just like he promised, he'll throw himself into everything he can to help her. A few months later, while Alba dozes off in class, the teacher snaps and hurls chalk at him, shouting that it's class time. Alba flinches, then scrambles to apologize. A whole month has passed since that field trip, and now it's June again. His calm school life kicks back in like nothing happened. Just like the real world, Kriana Fantasy runs on 12 months a year and its seasons echo Japanese lifestyle and culture. The game crams in 3 wild years of school and the hero levels up step by step through classes, with a giant menu of choices that keeps you on your toes. You can pick a guild and climb up to Adventure King, run the city's deals to claim Financial King, chase legendary magic to become a great sage, or crack ancient mysteries and earn the title of hero. When all the main characters finally cram into the hallway, Alba suddenly snaps, because the player can romance the heroines too. But he won't touch any of those paths, because fate already marked him to become the villain in every single route. He's convinced that no matter which road he picks, he'll slam straight back into the exact same fate the game spells out. Right when his thoughts finally settle, Ulyss pops up behind him out of nowhere and scares the life out of him. And since he's posted right by the wall, Ulyss snaps, asking what he's doing in a place like this. But the biggest shock for Alba is knowing Ulyss, this time, plays the hero and will go on to crush the villain. Just then, Celia holds Ulyss's arm and mentions to Alba that Ulyss scored the highest in the practical test for the Holy Wolf group, which she finds amazing, while Ulyss insists it was just a fluke. Even though the three seem super tight with Yuli now, Alba still keeps a little distance. Then he storms off, grinning like he's relieved, saying he's glad for Ulyss, while openly admitting he messed everything up, leaving everyone standing there completely baffled. Ulyss starts panicking, wondering if he somehow made Alba feel bad, like he was bragging, yet Celia quickly reassures him that Alba always lunches solo, eating his bento alone. Still, Alice points out that Alba could have gotten jealous since Celia was praising Ulyss. Stunned by it all, Celia stares as Alba walks out, and can't stop wondering if that wasn't jealousy after all. Elena, though, insists that if Alba really was jealous, that's just childish, and Alice calls that a little too harsh. Just then, Elena snaps to a realization and Celia clocks the shift instantly, so she leans in and asks what's wrong. Elena's eyes flash like she just recalled something huge, yet she keeps it locked behind her teeth. Meanwhile, Alba's convinced this life keeps him from ever turning into the villain the original Alba was in the game, so he dodges the main characters at every turn, hiding out in the mountains and living like a lone ghost. Right then, someone swoops up to him and asks, "Are you taking another nap?" As he snaps his eyes open and pushes himself upright, there she is, Mina. It's been ages since they last saw each other, ever since her parents passed away. She then leans in and asks if he wants to grab lunch together, and he says yes, because she's a supporting character and somehow the universe isn't tagging her as one of his death flag suspects. Since she's not tied to his death flags, he can talk to her without a single fear or hesitation, and that freedom lights up his whole heart. After they finish eating, he brings up the news he heard about her parents passing away and tells her straight, he's right there and he'll support her through it. He reminds her of his promise and tells her face to face that he'll help her just like he swore he would, so she breaks into heartfelt thanks, buzzing with relief that she came to see him. Tears shimmer in her eyes and she beams as she tells him, "I knew talking to you would lift my spirits for real." Right then, Celia bursts in, spots Mina, and the two of them light up with a warm greeting. Celia beams at spotting Mina and asks if she wants in too, but when Mina asks what the invitation even means, Celia tells them that after school there's a meetup at her house, she's throwing a party, and while Mina's totally lost, Alba's even more confused, like, wait, what is this party even for? When they finally step inside, bam, it's a full-blown birthday party for Alba. Everyone bursts out with confetti and shouts their wishes as they celebrate him for the big day. The surprise hits him like a truck, because it looks exactly like a birthday event right out of the game, one that triggers off the date he typed in when he made his profile. And on top of that, a heroine with sky-high favorability shows up to celebrate the player's birthday, so in his case, all 4 heroines are right there. The date even lines up with his real birthday, and if he hadn't been reincarnated, he'd be stuck spending it completely alone. Turns out Elena actually remembered his birthday is June 6th, and it bugs Celia a little because she's hearing about it for the very first time. Alice then asks whether he had been sulking back then because no one wished him a happy birthday. While Elena calls it childish, Alba is shocked as he had no idea. Uli then blurts out an apology for showing up empty-handed, admitting he couldn't pull together a present on such short notice. Elena tells him she's totally fine, just grateful they can all gather to celebrate Alba's birthday, but Celia snaps back that Alba's the one who should have spoken up. Then Alice goes, Elena, you knew it was his birthday, so why are you still pulling that tsundere act? And Elena's cheeks burn with embarrassment. Mina shrugs the details off and jumps in, I'm Mina from the Holy Bird group. Then she beams and thanks everyone for letting her join. Alice and Yuli jump in to introduce themselves, and Alice blurts that it's way more fun when everyone's together. Mina nods along, thanking them right after. Elena finally exhales in relief when she sees Mina is okay, and Mina shoots back a heartfelt thanks. Elena then tells her the Persia family fully stands with the Lupica family, so Mina can lean on them anytime she needs it, and Mina nods with deep, grateful warmth. Even though they've already met, Celia breezes in like, hey, it's Celia, and Mina shoots back a warm thank you all over again. While everyone keeps jabbering, Alba stays locked on his own lane, determined to keep his distance and stay out of the main character's way as much as he can. While he's lost in his thoughts, Celia snaps him back, then tells him she's got something ready just for him, and she hands over his birthday cake. Even though Alba hasn't changed his mind, he swears there are moments when you can drop everything, stop overthinking, and just sink into the here and now. Celia steps up and urges him to make a wish as she blows out the candle, and he takes it, closes his eyes and prays for peace forever from this day forward. Before Celia can even blow out the flame, she suddenly wobbles, then the cake gets smashed straight into Alba's face. Laughter bursts out as the comedic scene hits, and Celia, tears flooding her eyes, quickly apologizes and wipes the cream off Alba's face. Moments later, with the sky already darkening, Alice and Yuli kick off toward their academy dorms, and Elena tags along too because her estate sits right on the way. After they trade goodbyes, Mina tells them she's going the other way, and Alba promises he'll walk her home, because after what happened to her parents, taking chances is just asking for trouble. Watching Alba and Mina talk, Celia decides he's just kind to everyone, so she can't find any real reason to feel jealous of how he treats her. Just as they start to walk off, Alba slams the brakes, turns back, and demands Celia come with him, leaving her utterly stunned. He then explains that he is not going to leave her alone at home since he is her bodyguard after all. Hearing this makes her very happy, and she tags along with them while letting out a strange laugh. A few seconds later on the road, Alba cornered Mina and asked if she was home alone. Mina answered that her knights had been assigned to keep her safe. When Alba hears it, relief floods her, and Celia turns to Mina and tells her, go ahead, come visit us anytime you want. Alba agrees and adds that if Mina ever gets into trouble she should let him know, and Celia agrees as well, saying she will cooperate too. Upon hearing this, Mina pauses and seems as if she wants to say something, but then she suddenly stops, shrugs it off like it's nothing, tells them they've arrived at her estate, and thanks both of them before they can even get a word out. And just like that, they part ways. Then on the ride back, Celia clocks it. Mina looked like she was desperate to say something. Alba felt it too, but he's sure that if anything changes, she'll tell him because they're friends and Celia's on the same page. With that settled, Alba asks if they should head straight home, to which Celia agrees but points out that it has gotten dark. Alba hears her out, blasts himself in crackling lightning, and tells her not to worry, only to make her gasp at how blindingly bright it gets. Then he grins and explains it isn't just light at all. It helps him sniff out suspicious presences, and he says it's ridiculously handy. Right as he says it, he feels someone lurking nearby, so he cranks up his lightning and growls, who's there? This confuses Celia and she asks what is wrong, but Alba remains on guard. He explains that he felt like someone was watching them, though Celia points out that there is no one around. Still, he keeps scanning the room, desperate to figure out whether that mystery person has already vanished. Turns out he never left, he's been lurking at a distance, watching every move like he's right there. Tracking Alba is brutal, because that colorless camouflage ability makes her almost impossible to spot. The mysterious guy's sure that if his sister Eurot were here, she'd say this is exactly what you'd expect from a Kriana Academy student, and still, in his heart, Alba and the others are just kids. As the person's face is revealed, he remarks that they will have to wait a little longer until the young lady's beast-generating magical power is ready. And when that day finally hits, their god-killing spree is about to kick off, telling the students to push themselves and squeeze every drop of life from their youth, right up until that moment. A few days later, the biggest moment Kriana Academy has ever seen, Whispers of the Ruin, is about to explode into the world. Since today is the sports festival, Celia strides up to the microphone and declares that the righteous power and spirit she learned at the academy will guide her. She swears she'll fight with honor. With that declaration blazing in the air, she steps forward and says who she is, Celia Margaret, the first-year representative of the Holy Horse Group. Then the principal strides up to the stage, tells everyone he can't wait to see every participating group grow, and urges them all to go all out and give it everything in the fight. In the game, you jump into the competition with the team you picked from the start, and if you win, the heroine's feelings for you skyrocket. And Alba, also part of the Holy Horse Group, has zero plans to win because he's desperate to dodge his death flag at any cost, and things aren't about to get easier for him. Celia and Elena are absolutely fired up, locked in, pumped, and ready to tear through the competition to win. Celia can barely contain her excitement. This is her first ever sports festival, while Elena is fueled by one goal: win it all for the sake of the Persia family, and since Alba can't sway them, he only lets out a heavy sigh at how wildly determined they are. Then they push Alba to lock in and go all in for the win, and all he can do is nod and agree. Just then, Alice from the Holy Wolf Squad snapped at them to slow down, insisting her team will come out on top, and Yuli shot back that they're not going to lose. The three girls start bickering over who's going to grab victory, and when Alba says it's basically a given that the story's protagonist wins, Yuli's is left utterly baffled. Mina from the Holy Bird Group then calls out to Alba, saying that she will not lose either and greets everyone. Alice responds that she will be going all out, and Celia adds that today they are all enemies. Elena suggests they have a fair match, to which Mina agrees. Everyone nods along and she insists she just wants to make good memories, but Yuli shoots back that the Holy Bird Group is packing serious magical power, so no one can afford to drop their guard. Right as he says it, a girl behind them bursts into giggles out of nowhere, and the whole group jumps in shock. Turns out it's Lily from the Holy Bird Group, and she goes, "Whoa, Mina's got a ton of magic tucked away." Then she can't help but blurt out her curiosity: what kind of spell is Mina gonna unleash? After that, she keeps laughing and strides off, while Alba snaps at her not to leave with that creepy laugh. Yet when Ulyss sees it, he's baffled that Alba even knows her, and Alba can only smirk at the irony, because in a future he might have ended up with her instead. Right after that, Kate Sith steps up and announces he'll be running the competition's progress and commentary. Then he slams down the first event, a full-on running race. Rules are simple. In this race, magic is off-limits. Pure stamina decides everything. When the announcement hits, Mina, Celia, and Alice brace themselves, and their crew erupts in cheers as they get ready to sprint. The moment Kate Sith throws the signal, everyone rockets forward. Alice surges ahead, Mina and Celia charging right behind her, and Alice grins that she's this fast because she trained her speed racing Ulyss through the mountains. Meanwhile, Elena whips her head around and Alba is nowhere. Panic starts creeping in, like, where did he go? But he's not gone at all. He's out near the arena's edge, standing way off in the distance, and when everyone turns to him, he blurts out an apology because he's about to slack off. In his mind, avoiding his death flag matters more than winning. Soon, the next contest kicks off, an insane magical showdown where every team has to haul a gigantic spherical rock across the arena using pure magic. Lily is locked in, sure she won't lose this event, while Elena's patience snaps as she keeps barking for answers about where Alba is. Meanwhile, Celia can't believe it's taking this long since he's still stuck in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Alba stays perched on the very top of the arena, munching like it's a show snack, cracking up at the spectacle below, and finding the rock's hole look weirdly hilarious. Soon, the competition shifts to the next event, a test of strength that takes the form of a mock battle. Elena orders everyone to follow her lead while Celia calls Alba an idiot for still being absent. Dulais tells them not to be afraid and urges them to charge forward. Right as he says that, Kate Sith blares the truth: these aren't real weapons, they're soft, magical sticks. She explains that even if they hit you, they'll only leave you temporarily numb, so there's nothing to fear. Mina hears that and her nerves spike, urging them to just push through and survive, while Lily blurts that she's honestly not too good with weapons. The second the battle kicks off, everything explodes into pure chaos. Everyone slams into everyone else at once, and some fighters swing their weapons wildly like they've lost their minds. Up on his high perch, Alba looks down and sees pure chaos, except for Ulyss and Elena, and right in the middle of the brawl. Uli admitted that Elena's crushing presence was exactly what he'd expected, and he sounded genuinely impressed. Then Elena snapped back that his skills weren't as refined as hers yet, but his raw natural talent more than made up for it. Alba watches Ulyss finally step into his role like a real protagonist, Because in the game, battling Elena is one of the key moments that cranks up her favor toward him, then right as the thought hits, the rest of the story comes rushing back to him. First, the protagonist wins the heroine's heart, then Alba the villain snatches her away, and at the end, the protagonist crashes in and defeats Alba to save her. That's how Alba's doom was supposed to start. Then the realization hits, and he can't stop thinking. If the protagonist and the heroine really grow close like the original story promised, does his death flag still get triggered anyway? He then reminds himself that it will not happen because he is not the Alba from the game and will never steal the protagonist's heroine. Moments later, the scores for every team flash on screen and Celia's face drops when she spots the Holy Horse group stuck in last place. Elena quickly steadies her, insisting the final competition is worth double points, so they still have a real shot to turn it around. Her reassurance quickly turns into anger as she demands to know why that delinquent Alba still has not returned. Celia agrees once again, calling him an idiot while Alba in his usual spot is fast asleep. Kate Sith then announces the final event, a mixed-agender pair obstacle race in which participants are allowed to use stamina, magic, and strength to overcome the obstacles and reach the goal. He kicks off the introductions, starting with the Holy Horse crew, Alba and Celia. Celia's jaw drops that Alba got picked, and Elena instantly yells for everyone to go track him down. Next up, the Holy Wolf crew calls out Allison Yuli's, and everyone can tell she's buzzing. Then the Holy Bird group picks Mash and Lily. Lily's face screams, but Mash starts panicking and vows he'll do his absolute best. While everyone tears the world apart looking for Alba, Katizith storms straight to him and snaps that he can't keep slacking. So Alba gets dragged back to his crew, faces scolding and boos thrown at him from all sides, and even with all that heat, he still has zero intention of winning. Kate Sith then blasts out a command. The girls have to lug the baton, smash through every obstacle, and reach their partners. After the rules are explained, the boys who get the baton shove off immediately, clearing their own obstacles and sprinting for the goal. Then he shouts for everyone to get ready and gives the signal. The race kicks off and all three girls explode forward at a sprint as their partners scream and cheer them on. Alba won't cheer even as sadness creeps in over his own stubborn refusal to win. Then boom, the first obstacle springs to life as a magic circle blooms on the ground. As it powers up, a sea of hands bursts from the circle, and because Alice is charging ahead, she's the first one snagged. Kate Sith explains how the magic circle traps opponents with magical hands, and Alice recoils so hard it's downright disgusting. While Celia scrambles to dodge every grab, Lily just stands there and taunts the obstacle as cheap, then starts chanting a counterspell like she owns the moment. She calls forth 4 elemental spirits and they rip through every barrier, clearing a path so smoothly that Kate Sith can't help but be blown away. Alba's impressed. He mutters that it's not bad until Yuli's snaps in fast, telling him, no, it's way more than that. Then Yuli's breaks it down. Everyone is born with magical gifts and their own blind spots. If fire is your strong suit, water is almost always where you get crushed. Lily can wield all 4 basic elemental magics at once, steering them together like it's nothing, because honestly, that power feels unreal. Hearing that, Alba flashes a grin like it's perfectly for one of the heroines, and as the display lights up, the other girls remember they can use magic too. Alice refuses to get left in the dust, so she slams her beast transformation magic into full effect. In the blink of an eye, she morphs into a cat, squirms out of the magical grip, and bolts ahead, while Kate Sith can't stop hyping the whole thing like it's the best show ever. Alba locks onto it and instantly remembers in the game Alice was the heroine who mastered tricky magic. Then, with urgency in his voice, he turns to Yuli and asks her whether she can. She could have dodged the Chimera's trap back then if she'd used this spell, and Yuli's just nodded, awkward laughter bursting out right after. Celia snaps into action, chanting her own holy magic to blast the obstacle out of the way. As soon as her chant ends, she summons sacred holy light that wipes out every last remaining hand in an instant, and Alba erupts in praise, telling her she did a perfect job. Lily finally catches up to her partner, snatches the baton from Mash first, then shoves it into his hands. Before he even finishes processing, he launches into a full sprint and kicks off the boys' leg of the race. The second the boys hit the starting line, a brand new magical obstacle snaps to life and unleashes a massive golem. Kate Sith calls it the Iron Giant Shocking Mesh, and just like that, Alba clocks it too, an absolute monster of an obstacle, while Yuli's assessment lands right alongside theirs. Kate Sith orders the boys to push past it, but Mash panics and throws in the towel. Then Alice snaps her baton over to Yuli and she rockets forward at an insane speed. As Alba watches him, she spots the same moveset Yuli's used when they fought the Chimera, and now she can't stop wondering if Yuli's ridiculous physical skill is really some kind of magic. Lily suddenly pops up right beside him and blurts out that this is only the first stage of the enhancement. She calls it absorbing kinetic energy from another dimension, then funneling it into the user's own power, turning their body into a stronger, scaling weapon that grows harder the more skilled they get. As she ends her explanation with a giggle, Alba can't help but think she gets noticeably more alive every time the conversation drifts to magic. Just as the golem attacks, Yuli swiftly dodges the blow and leaps over it, witnessing this. Alba remembers this first stage enhancement power wasn't just random in the world at all, it was actually in the game, and it's the secret that explains why Ulyss, the protagonist, is so brutally strong. Right as his mind spirals, Celia finally catches up and blurts an apology for the delay, but Alba doesn't take the baton or move at all, she just freezes there. Seeing that, Elena snaps at him to snap out of it, shouting that if they lose, she'll expose his real identity to everyone. Alba hears it and freezes in shock. He snaps into it, realizes this is it, if his cover gets blown, he's finished, so he slams his lightning power on and rockets out of there. Even though Celia finally lets out a breath of relief, the other students swarm Elena and start pressing her hard. Who is Alba, really? Alba rockets forward like lightning, smashes through the golem, and splits it open in a single burst. Uli heard that thunderous impact, snapped his gaze back, and when he spotted Alba closing in, he clenched his focus on the finish line because it was right there within reach. Before Ulyss can cross it, Alba rushes past the finish line first, shocking all the heroines. He halts so violently that a giant burst of dust explodes around him. Uli snaps his tongue, cursing himself for not going harder, because deep down he has to admit Alba is terrifyingly strong and now he's starting to see him as a real rival. Alba, though, isn't celebrating one bit, his victory has him anything but happy. Later, Kate Sith slams the final results onto the stage and crowns the Holy Horse group as the first-year champions. Then Celia and Elena burst into pure, unstoppable joy. Alice shoots back, promising she won't lose next time, and Lily just laughs, saying she had an absolute blast watching that wild, mind-blowing magic. Mina is smiling, thrilled that she's created so many unforgettable memories while Alba is still totally clueless. She has no idea the sports festival just kicked off the next big disaster. Meanwhile, the people who summoned that chimera during the students' field trip just watched the whole nightmare unfold from a safe distance. Right as the competition was about to wrap up, one of them leaned in and asked Sister, "Is it time? Are we finally starting our plan?" The woman shoots back with a clear yes and tells you straight, their whole org Ragnarok is here to kill the gods.